Meeting will come to order. It's now 6:30 p.m. on June 16th, the City of Simonton Council meeting. Madam Secretary, please conduct a roll call and confirm that we have a quorum and confirm that the meeting was properly posted.
Councilmember Kelly Carlson.
Here.
Councilmember Andrew Perry.
Yep, here.
Councilmember Susan Ladart.
I'm here.
Councilmember Angela King here. Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem Justin Boudreau is not present, away on a work trip tonight. You were made aware. Mayor, you have a quorum and your agenda has been properly posted.
Thank you. Item 3 is the invocation and pledge of allegiance to the flag. Gentlemen, please remove your hats. Heavenly Father, we come together tonight grateful for your presence and your guidance. We ask for your protection over all our helpers and first responders as they serve this community. Bring healing to those who are sick, comfort to those who are struggling, and calm to the heart in the midst of the storm. Help us work together for the good of Simonton with patience, wisdom, and unity. In his name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Item 4, Chapter 551007, City Council may not discuss or act on any item not listed on the agenda. Clarification questions are allowed, but must not result in deliberation. Council members should seek recognition by chair to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak must sign the request form prior to the start of the meeting and will be limited to 3 minutes. Additional time may be granted by the mayor or a council member not to exceed 2 additional minutes. Madam Secretary, would you call each person who wishes to speak according to their request form and announce the topic of their request?
Yes. Fran Kelly, and the subject that she'll be speaking on is traffic.
Hello. I live on 34834 FM 1093, directly across from the Twinwood Equestrian Center. And I'm very concerned because I have a quarter-of-a-mile road that I walk down almost every day. And as I'm walking down that road, the traffic coming from this traffic nightmare down here, they are going 70 miles an hour by the time they hit my driveway and the Twinwood Crossway. I have seen so many close calls. There's going to be a horrible, horrible accident there. Not only for myself that I'm worried about, because the people are driving so fast, I have to pump my brakes when I leave my yoga class in the morning. But the travel trailers, they bring in 18-wheeler trucks with these huge horse trailers, and nobody pays any attention. So I personally think that Twinwood should put up some sort of flashing light warning that there are horses in something, but there should be something to identify, because that is a very dangerous intersection. WThank you for your time.
Can I ask a clarification question?
Yes.
You may.
Are you referring just to the Funky's four-way stop, or are you referring?
I'm referring where you turn into the equestrian center.
Okay.
Those travel trailers are coming in all at nighttime.
Okay.
And that's when they really start revving up, because they're coming back from Anthony's and they're zooming back to Houston. The weekends are just as bad.
Okay.
It's a problem.
That's what I was going to ask you. If it
Any
was a
other
specific
questions
time.
while I'm upstairs?
I was going to ask the same question. Yeah, so
No, I was gonna ask the same
it's more in the evening than in the mornings, like,
It's all day long.
okay.
It is all day long. And then that poor bus, that now you have a bus that's stopping there. And that is, I'm surprised somebody hasn't complained about that, because there's a bus stopping there in the morning and in the afternoon at 5 o'clock.
You're talking about a bus stop at
A bus stop at Twinwood.
Okay.
They drop their children, somebody gets on the bus there.
Okay.
Oh, the school bus.
I'm telling you, it's a travesty waiting to happen, and I'm very concerned. I've lived here my whole life. Now, when I was a child, I had to go to Bertman's store and get on the bus. They didn't stop at my street.
You want 5 miles?
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Madam Secretary?
Christy Smith, and the Subject of conversation is everything.
I had to make y'all laugh. I had to make y'all laugh. Here I go. I may need 5, but I'm gonna try to not speed and go crazy. This thing is too straight, but that's okay. Christy Smith, 36630 Canyon Road, take 3. Council, I know you denied Mrs. Guerrero an occupancy permit and fear we could risk losing FEMA flood insurance for all Simon to accommodate one variance. Example ordinances can be enforced at any time. I'm gonna give you an example. It was me. In 2009, I came to the city to prepare my salon. I came in the mayor and said, what I gotta do to put a sign on my building? He said, nothing, just get with Twinwood, whatever's there you can do. So about 4 years later, I'm there doing business and I get hit with the sign ordinance. You don't have a permit for your sign. You either need to pay $75 for the permit. They went through the files. We hired a part-time city enforcement officer under that mayor. And they said, oh, it's been 4 years. Why do I have to do a permit? I didn't have to do one 4 years ago. Well, there's not a permit in your file. I said, okay, so what I gotta do? Pay $75 to get your permit or be fined $500 a day. So I was a product of that ordinance violation. I was also a product of ordinance violation with my RV plugged in my house. And somebody knocked on my door and asked me kindly to unplug it. So I did. Anyway, after searching through plenty of open records requests on council members and new construction, I have made so many discoveries. July 16th, we passed a no-fill dirt. 2 builders have brought in dirt to elevate driveways and garages. No one forced them to carry it out. Strict city ordinance and deed compliance states that any structure must be placed at the setback of the home. We have a structure, shops and workshops that are placed in people's front yard, not behind the setbacks of their home. And we even have some going under utility easements. Better yet, building a fence on a structure or a property without a home is an ordinance violation. We have elevated homes without deck railing, RVs plugged in on property, abandoned structures, T-post fencing, substantially damaged homes fully occupied that are being deemed temporary, and the owners are made to bring them to code, meaning elevation. All ordinance violations. So through all my research since 2018, only a few homes are actually at the 116.4 elevation, and most all new builds in the last 4 years sit at 115 and 116. I honestly believe the only one that's past 116.4 is Susan Ledard's home. The only one.
Excuse me?
No, in the last 4 years. No, I know all of us, we did it right. In the last 4 years, she's probably the only new home that's been built at 114.
Continue.
Yeah, anyway, thank you. So, anyway, I lost my train of thought. None of them, so here's my numbers. In the last 4 years, sit 115 and 160, 5 homes on Pony. May I get a few more?
Yes.
5 homes, Pony, Stirrup, Cougar, and 2 homes built at ground level in the past 4 years never denied an occupancy permit. That's 5. And that's just beginning my research. So we're going to amend the request for a variance to grant occupancy to an ADA compliant that I have filed at federal level, along with the Federal Fair Housing Act, to the request for occupancy. You can read that on your own time. I challenge you to take a hard look at the evidence provided. Mrs. Guerrero is not your problem. Many problems existed long before anybody opened their eyes. She only got caught because she attempted to follow all the rules rather than break them. My suggestion to council is if you're really concerned over FEMA audit and losing funding, you better change your ordinance to be at FEMA floodplain, meaning section 1 and 3 should come at 114, and north past Comanche should go at 114.3. That would make the 2 homeowners that built on the ground have to elevate to at least FEMA flood compliant standards. If not, begin writing variances on all the FEMA and ordinance violations that I have now made public to the city of Simonton, and I have just begun. I will be happy to send any council member any information I gathered. Just text me your email and I'd be happy to include you in the discoveries. Yes, sir.
I have one question for clarification. Everything that you mentioned, how much of it is HOA or POA versus the city? Is it all city that you...
All that was city ordinance except for the deed violation of the 2 houses on one property. That's a deed violation. But
Okay.
setbacks of home, well, nothing being built on a thing before a house is a city ordinance.
Okay.
And we see it, we have chicken houses, we have barn structures, and we have a ton of barns with no vents. But I'll be getting all that to y'all. That'll be open public now. So those barns will have to put vents.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Cheyenne?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
You better scream at her. All right.
Jim Jack Phillips, and the subject is trash.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Jim Jack Phillips. I'm from El Campo, Texas. I'm with Trust Waste Solutions. We're out of Wharton, but we service all up here, all the way up to Rosenberg. I want to take a moment to introduce our company and let you know who we are. Trust Waste Solutions is locally owned, and we provide residential, commercial, municipal, and roll-off dumpsters services throughout the whole area. What makes us different is that we come from a small community just like Simonton. We understand, like towns like Simonton, service isn't just about trash pickup. It's about being dependable, answering the phone when residents have questions, not missing stops and never coming back, and being accountable to the community. We take pride in providing reliable service, maintaining clean neighborhoods, and building long-term relationships with the communities we serve. As y'all grow, we appreciate the opportunity to learn more about your needs and explore how Trust Waste Solutions can be a resource to the city in the future. Currently, we serve from Louise to Rosenberg. We do the iMud in El Campo, so we take care of all that. We just acquired the city of Beasley in May, and then we also do Eagle Lake. But that's on top of the roll-off dumpsters and everything else that we provide. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hopefully having conversations in the future.
Can you send your information into the city?
Sure can.
Okay. To Cheyenne at info@simontontexas.gov.
Will do.
Okay.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Lori Boudreau, and the subject is signs and EOC.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm Laurie Boudreau, 36730 Cheyenne Road. That feels too close, I must move back here. First of all, thank you, council, for the opportunity to speak. I have three things. Let's see if I can get to them all. At your last meeting on June 2nd, I urgently requested that council take action to appoint an emergency operations coordinator. This is a practice used by the city repeatedly in previous events. Tonight's agenda does not contain an action item to appoint this coordinator. Neither the current ordinance or new ordinance are in the supportive documentation provided. Discussion on this topic is urgent, and council voted to include this item for action at this meeting, at the last meeting. It's disappointing. Today, the river in Hempstead is in action stage. The forecast crest is 39.5 feet. Minor flood stage is 50 feet. In Richmond, action stage currently, forecast crest is at 37.5 feet. Minor flood is at 45 feet. We're not in imminent danger of this happening tomorrow, but it's something we're watching very closely. As you know, this is the most prone time of the year between now and October. And the heavy rains and the high river level make rains above us something we have to really watch out for. So I request that during the item that's on the agenda today for discussion, with legal counsel advice, you take action to resolve the conflict of interest and safeguard our homes in Valley Lodge by appointing an emergency operations coordinator. Second, I'm a firm believer that Twinwood USA is bringing significant value to the city of Simonton and surrounding areas through development, businesses, and long-term planning that is not a copy of mattress stores, nail salons, car washes, or overrun with apartments. However, the day before and the day after the mayor took office, he and I worked together several hours each day, passing on details of projects. One of which was the newly erected Orchid Estates billboard right next to the former grocery store at FM 1093 and 1489. I shared my opinion that a phone call to Twinwood would be my first step to address the improper sign, and that an enforcement letter should follow if needed. I shared that a phone call about the flood ring signs at the Tree Farm Retail Center solved the issue in a single day with just a phone call. I included a printed copy of the sections of the city sign ordinance that pertain. Apparently no action was taken, and now another, even taller billboard has been erected on FM 1093 right across from here, across from the Country Service Center. The printed face of these signs is 10 foot by 16 foot, which is 160 square feet. By the grocery store, the sign is in the public right-of-way. It's 3 feet off the ground for a total of 13 feet tall. May I finish?
Yes.
Thank you. On FM 1093, this sign is approximately 6 feet off the ground for a total of 16 feet tall. So the violations that are obvious to me, I'm not the enforcement officer, but I pulled the current ordinance right from the city's webpage, brought a copy if anybody wants it for reference. The total height of signs shall not exceed 10 feet, including the base. These are 13 and 16 feet tall. The bottom portion of the reader panel shall not be more than 24 inches above the ground. These are 3 and 6 feet above. The portion of the sign containing the message shall not exceed 72 square feet. These are more than double at 160 square feet each. All signs shall be approved by the mayor or his designee prior to construction. These were not presented during my term for approval. I'm assuming it hasn't been since then, but I don't know that for a fact. All signs must be permitted. To my knowledge, neither of these are permitted because they don't follow requirements. And no signs can be located in the public rights-of-way, and we have one in the right-of-way now. I would request the city enforce this ordinance immediately. Delay only encourages additional violations. And last, very quickly, while we're on the subject of signs, the mayor or designee wears the hat, many hats, but wears the hat of Public Works quite often. This includes stopping to pick up or remove illegal bandit signs and calling the business to advise them of our no bandit ordinance and of the $200 per day per sign fee or fine that could be responsible for. In 10 years, I've only had one business not say they were sorry they did it and promise not to do it again. And the business that argued with me still didn't put more signs. So it was a win, either way. All I had to do was call them. So I'm just asking that, Mayor, you take over this need, because I've seen over the last 3 weeks, there are lots of signs, and I've pulled up several. I think Christy's pulled up several. People are willing to help, but we can't do it on our own. Because if we don't do it now, you see what happens. They just litter the whole place with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Secretary.
Barbara Minton, and the subject is flood.
Okay, before I talk about flood, I also want to reiterate what Lori said, because my husband has made comments about those signs and how they're very obtrusive looking for our community. The main other thing I wanted to bring up is we used to, back in the old days, and I think Lori was mayor, we used to have on the Simonton website a link that we could click on, and it would show us the gauges in Hempstead and Friedeck so we could follow the water. And for anyone who's lived here, like Fran, since 980, the first flood that we lived here for was Christmas of 91, and it went through New Year's of 92, and then the second flood was October of 84. One of those two floods, there was a really bad flood in Waco. And I saw on the news the other day that they got hit pretty hard. So I just want to make sure that we get some sort of notices or warnings that if something's coming, I can get my cat cages up and my paint cans and all my fun stuff ready. So I wanted to bring up that. And then the third thing I wanted to mention, also do with flooding, is the drainage in Section 1. And I know that Simonton is a redheaded stepchild of Fort Bend County, but Section 1 is a redheaded stepchild of Valley Lodge, and we got drainage issues like you can't believe on my street. But I know they're getting ready to build a new road, so I'm hoping with the new road, Boot Hill bypass, that they might be doing something. But it might be a good opportunity for, you don't know about the new road?
No.
Oh, okay.
First I hear Boot Hill bypass.
It's called Boot Hill bypass, right where my house is. They've already bought the land
from the people I'm selling the property for.
You're talking Fort Bend County? I'm sorry. He's talking Fort Bend? Okay.
County's putting in another road.
Okay.
Because the erosion wall is going to go in down at the end of the street, and
Yes.
then those people are going to be blocked, and they can't get to their homes.
Right.
So they're building a road called the Booty Pill Bypass, right past my stop sign on Hackamore. And so hopefully when they do that, I was thinking, Eric, maybe you could just bring up, as a matter of fact, since you're doing all this work on the road, why don't you fix our drainage on Hackamore going down to your new road? Give Mark a call. Mark Vogler?
I know him.
Okay. I have his private cell phone too.
If I might, Mayor, Dwayne Griegar at the Commissioner's Office has been spearheading that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And take care of those cats, because I don't want them at my house. Madam Secretary?
He's already worried about it.
That is all for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then item 5 is the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, I have removed items 5, C, and D because the data is not completed this time, if you want to make a note of that. And then I would ask if any of the council members want to remove any of the other consent agenda items.
5E is not in the binder.
5E was given to you last meeting. It's in the back.
It's in your previous,
It's in your previous binder as,
but the problem is that I made a typo and it's not Q1, it's Q2.
Okay, so it's just the monthly.
yes. No,
You
it's,
know, it's quarterly, I just accidentally put Q1 and it's supposed to be Q2.
on the 6-2 meeting, if you turn to 5A, is it 5A?
Well, that says a monthly sales tax report on 5A.
That's true.
So this is quarterly sales tax report.
We'll
So,
remove that.
We'll remove it?
Correct on that.
so
Okay,
is it
let's remove it.
quarterly says,
No, it's not either. The RMS report that is the RMS report that is the sales tax audit April was not motioned last meeting. That was the intention, was to bring that back this meeting. But it's listed incorrectly.
Correct.
So we're just going to remove it, and then we'll still bring the sales tax report that was not motioned at all in 6-2 meeting, and we'll bring it back at the next meeting. Thank you for the catch. Okay, so that leaves A, B, F, G, and H. Anyone else want to remove anything? Okay, so I entertain a motion on the remaining consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion to approve AB's, we took off E, right?
Yes, we took off.
A, B, F, G, and H.
Yes, sir. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Andy, second by Angela, to approve the remaining consent agenda items. Any discussion? Hearing none, we proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Item 6.
Excuse me. Are we opening it for discussion?
Not, what, 6?
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry?
Not yet, not yet.
Eric, I submitted some edit changes to the minutes and stuff that were just on the consent agenda. Have they been?
They are addressed, yes. I answered your email. You'll get them addressed through this meeting, both of them.
Minutes.
He submits, yes, they've been correct. Just a minute changes is what she was referring to.
Oh. And you're talking about the green section that we sent to her, to Susan, or something else? Did you take her?
The minutes that were on the consent agenda, earlier she sent an email to both of us, and there was a couple of typographical
Oh,
errors.
typos, yes. Secretary will take care of that on the final
Yes.
draft. So, is the ordinance 2026-08. 2026-08 was officially returned to council with written objection for reconsideration according to Local Government Code Chapter 52-.003. Ordinance 2026-08, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, amending the city's code of ordinance by amending Division 1, generally of Article 3, officers and employees of Chapter 2, administration, adding provisions related to the authority to appoint and remove city officers, employees, and contractors, and providing for severability savings and effective date. Do I hear a motion?
Are we opening it up for discussion?
After I get a motion?
A motion for,
A motion to what?
The motion can be to accept, reject, or table. Since this was returned, right, all you'd have to do is say approved and it's done. No signature is necessary. Now, if you want to discuss the contents of 2026-08,
Well, just for some clarification.
okay, go ahead.
No, yeah, so this is exactly as written as the one before that we,
No changes whatsoever.
okay, the one that we passed that is now back. Okay, so, okay, just making sure that it's the exact same as the one that we already voted on and passed.
Not
correct?
one letter changed.
but
Okay.
there was one thing that Phil had recommended that we change.
Phil,
That you had written in there.
You're absolutely right, Susan. Phil had said, if you go to 6-2's minutes, because I saw that, and we may have to consult with Jeffrey.
So we voted to pass it with the
the
small
changes,
change that
correct.
Phil had recommended.
Correct.
So I don't know, I don't think that is in
I don't
this
know what
current-
changes has to make, but as I
I'm trying
understand
to
this
find
is
that.
the
Well, it's-
in
I'll
the
help you.
agenda.
Last agenda,
19, it'd be 5H, right?
5H.
I can tell you exactly what it is.
We found that, and
So Cheyenne, you have that?
Yes, give me 1 second. I can tell you exactly what he... This is like adding a sentence.
Yes. So it was,
Angela had asked, I'm trying to find her words, here it is.
Okay, he wanted to include the change of removal of an officer other than members of the governing body is subject to the terms of section 22.0777 of the Texas Local Government Code.
yes.
So Jeffrey, we found that text today, and Susan's absolutely right. So if you go back and read, he was supposed to insert that into 2026-08. The reason why I said there's absolutely no change is that was not done.
So I can offer you two options. Either you can table it and wait to see it in writing, or you can accept it pending with the idea that he will have this additional sentence.
So at the pleasure of council, you have a motion that can be made as he stated. I'm just going to say as he stated, with corrections to be inserted by legal or table it. And we'll bring it back.
I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 2026-08 with knowing that Phil is going to make the corrected adjustment sentence added.
All right, I have a motion by Angela. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kelly. That 2026-08 is approved based on, with corrections to be inserted by legal.
Don't we have to
We get a
have a
vote?
discussion and a vote?
Yeah, we're about to go there. Is there a discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
So we passed this last time on with Phil's correction. Why do we have to repass it again? We're saying the same thing we did last time.
The text is not correct. That's the only reason.
I wasn't here last time, and the best way to do it is if there's any error, go ahead and make the motion
Okay.
and do it again.
That wasn't, because it wasn't signed. The mayor wouldn't
It
sign
was
it.
on appeal.
Because it's on appeal, right?
Appeal.
So it's on appeal, and the appeal is you have to bring it back. And when you bring it back, if this should have actually taken place and put in.
Yeah.
And then I would have had to say, well, it's 2026-08 with the change that was requested. So I can't say that. So now the motion is to accept it with that correction. and we're still in discussion.
Can it be appealed again?
It absolutely cannot.
Okay.
This time, it does not even get the signature of the mayor. It absolutely is appealed on the second that you say it's approved.
The first one we approved is appealed.
The first one we approved, yes, I
It'll be appealed.
opposed, and I gave you an opposition letter and explained all of that, and now it comes back. And so now it's back by request, and there is no option here except that if y'all approve it, it is immediately approved and done and signed. I don't have to even sign it. Doesn't require my signature.
And you can confirm that language,
I will confirm that the language is put in.
because I don't have both copies, I'm a little shy.
The language just didn't get put in, I think it was an oversight, but with it being approved with Phil's original corrections that he wanted, I'll make sure that those are corrected before I submit it and make it official.
And my advice would be if it were something where we're more complicated than a sentence that you've already actually written, you just need to put it in paper. That's a simple one that people normally would say, we passed with the corrections, so.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it in myself, I just don't know where it goes. So.
Very important legal business
Yeah.
where you put it in there, yes.
That's why we pay the lawyers. Okay, so, any other discussion? Hearing none, we're going to proceed to vote. Madam Secretary, I'd like you to do a roll call on this one.
Councilmember Kelly Carlson,
Aye.
Councilmember Andrew Perry,
Aye.
Councilmember Susan Ladart,
Aye.
Councilmember Angela King.
Aye.
Okay, motion to accept, motion passes 4-0. That ordinance is now totally in effect. Item 6B. So item 6B is discussion and possible action to approve ordinance 2026-09. Council, this ordinance is being placed before you to provide a more effective hiring process that will allow the mayor's position to hire part-time or temporary employees of the city. Ordinance 2026-09 reads, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, amending the city's code of ordinance by amending Section 2-47, authority to appoint and remove employees of the city, Division 1, generally Article 3, officers and employees of Chapter 2, administration adding provisions related to the authority of the mayor to appoint specific positions and provide for severability, savings, and effective date. You all have the ordinance in its entirety to read as to what it states, and you have the underlying portions of that ordinance that are more specific in what's happening. So do I have a motion?
Can we discuss?
Yeah, I really welcome discussion. But
So this basically negates the one we just passed?
No, it does not.
Pretty much, yeah.
It changes some of it. It does not negate it. Correct, Jeffrey?
Correct.
It doesn't negate it, but it puts in,
So the big part is that then it would give, if council has already approved the job title, position, and the salary for that position, and it's part-time or temp, the mayor would have the authority to hire and fire those folks under those conditions.
so remind me, if you don't mind, if nobody does anything, then it fails, and can it get brought up again? Or do we have to like make a motion to say, no, we don't want to pass this? Like, what is that process exactly?
So if no one makes a motion to pass, then we don't even start. If we get a motion, not a second, we don't move forward. You would have to make an active motion to pass it. People can place items on the agenda every time, subject to the mayor's approval. Usually the mayor's the arbiter of the agenda, so if you do nothing, it does not pass.
But then it can just get put back on?
It can be put back on.
Okay. But can we make a motion to not pass it, and then it can't get put back on?
No.
Okay, I'm just clarifying, like, I don't know, just want to make sure.
Wait, you said no, and I want to make sure that's a clear no. No, it can't be brought back, or no?
It can be brought back.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so do I hear a motion? of any kind? Okay, hearing no motion, this thing is tabled.
Tabled
be
is
tabled?
failed.
Not tabled, right? It's not tabled.
Well,
So if no one is going to make any motions,
it can't be rejected, you have no motion. It can't be accepted, you have no
I
motion.
think
So,
it was either tabled indefinitely or tabled until the next meeting.
right, so it's tabled.
So how many times are we going to keep tabling to something that the council
The
doesn't want to?
mayor is the final arbiter of the agenda.
That's fine, so he can
if
just
it's
put it on the agenda every month for us just to not take any action on it. Okay?
All right, so we'll move on. Item 6C. Item 6C, the ordinance is the one that basically was asked for, Kelly, where you addressed what getting items on the agenda. Ordinance 2026-10, an ordinance of the City Council of City of Simonton, Texas, amending Article 2, City Council of Chapter 2, Administration of the City's Code of Ordinances to contain provisions related to time and place of meetings, decorum, and agenda setting, amending Article 2, City Council to Article 2, City Council and council meetings and provisions related to severability. You all have it, the actual reading of the ordinances, and it does speak to the point of putting items on the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Discussion.
A discussion.
I'd rather have discussion after a motion, or else there's really nothing to discuss if there is no motion.
Well, no, because we want to be able to ensure that we vote correctly
But you
after
can't.
discussion. I'm
Yeah,
not
we
going to
should
vote.
discuss it. Yeah, we're not going to
Discuss it
vote
first.
until we discuss it.
Yeah, that's how we've always done
Well, you have the document and should have read it. So you have questions on the document?
it. Yes.
Okay, so let's do questions on the document.
Okay. Kelly, you want to go first?
Sure.
Do it.
One, this document is very poorly written. It doesn't even read well. I have created a draft, if you're interested in it. That's all I have for the moment.
So, oh, I'm sorry, are you done?
Yep.
My only note on here is under 2-21 regular meetings. It says that the city council shall be held on the first and third Tuesday of each month at City Hall, rather than that it shall be held on the third, with the first being held as available, because this reads that it will be twice a month. It doesn't read as the way that it's current now.
So Tuesday, the first and third Tuesdays were always reserved for council meetings, correct?
But that's not how this reads.
It was always reserved for council meetings.
Reserved.
Without it being a special meeting, it was
Correct.
reserved.
Reserved.
All right, so this is just saying we will have a meeting on first and third Thursdays. If you don't want a
We
meeting,
don't need to have a meeting twice a month.
that's an opinion. You can do what you want. You're in charge. You're in charge.
Okay.
Just change this.
So my only thing was, in regards to, separate from Kelly, was that it needs to read that we are going to have one on the third Tuesday of every month and reserve the first one if there's other things that we need to bring to discussion.
Who decides on that first one? Who decides on the first one if we need to bring things to discuss?
Well, we don't need to come for one item just because you want to have a meeting on the first Tuesday of the month.
That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
You're right. It would. But this, as this states, we're going to do it anyways.
Okay, so tell me which paragraph and where do you want to change?
I just said 2-21 under regular meetings.
And how would you change the reading?
I would ask, I'm going to call you Phil, sorry.
I'm Jeff. Yeah, here, take a little piece of paper, but Bill 2.0.
Okay, sorry. But is what I'm stating making sense to you about it?
So I'm reading it here, the city, it's 2-21, it says, shall be held on the first and third Tuesday of each month.
Correct.
If you are trying to hold 2 meetings a month, that's the proper way to word it.
Correct.
If you don't want to hold 2 meetings a month, that's not the way to word it, so.
Correct.
It's up to you all how many meetings you want to say we are going to hold for sure.
Well, I like the way that it is now, which it has always been, from my understanding, that there's 2 dates that are reserved. The third one is the one that we all know is our scheduled city council day. And if there's something important or something that needs to get addressed quickly, or, something that needs.
Special meetings.
Right. Well, a special meeting is different, because even if we had it on the 1st and on the 3rd, those aren't, either one of those aren't special meetings, right? So a special meeting is different. So that's my point.
The point of the 2.21 language is that most cities have some sort of way of saying to the public, you can count on, we will be here on this day, and pick
Which would be
1 or 2 day one.
Third Tuesday.
So if you don't want to hold yourself to meeting twice a month, this says you're going to meet twice a month on the 3rd Tuesday.
Right, so we just need to change that verbiage to the way that it's, I don't know if there's already an ordinance in place that speaks to what policy in place. Well, this is, or says ordinance on it.
Yeah, so you're making it a law instead of a resolution or anything.
Okay.
So an ordinance carries a lot more weight
Sure.
than a resolution.
And I don't mind having it in as an ordinance, I just don't want it to read this way.
So what is the consequence of changing it, and what would it happen? I could not call a first meeting of the month?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Would it prevent the mayor from calling a meeting on the first meeting date of the month?
It would not prevent you.
Okay.
This is kind of the way to let the public know. Plan for if you want the 3rd Tuesday of every month, that's when we're definitely going to meet. Other than that, you're free with 3 business days notice to call special meetings, other meetings, reserved dates.
And we've had special meetings with single items before, by the way.
A special meeting is different than a regular scheduled meeting,
You could
though.
put,
A
if I
special
could
meeting is
offer
like,
one, you
hey,
shall be held on the 3rd Tuesday and may be held on the 1st Tuesday.
maybe, great word. It might, maybe.
I mean, there's already written policy for meetings.
So why can we not follow that, where it states the first Tuesday is reserved, but the actual meeting is the 3rd?
You could do that. If you want to.
Change the wording.
Well, that's what I'm asking, is
This
like,
is
how to
the old
properly
ordinance,
word
not
this.
mine.
I'll gladly change the wording.
I just wanted the wording to be correct, is all I'm asking for. I don't want it to
If
cause
you all
issues.
agree that that's what you want, is reserving the first Tuesday, and shall be on the 3rd Tuesday, we can change that language. It's possibly on one and
Guaranteed on the other, okay. That's what I'm asking for, I don't know if anybody else has any other things on here that they want to speak to.
Yeah, so the agenda setting one where we actually voted for stuff to be put on an agenda last meeting and it wasn't, so that concerns me. Which is, I'm not sure what the rules are
So
on that.
this is taking that request and basically codifying it into an ordinance, the way 226 says, if one council member wants something on the agenda, this is the process that Phil stated would take place. With the support from a second council member, it goes on the agenda.
This is via email. What we did last meeting is actually the law.
It's
We
not-
voted on it in a public meeting, and everyone consented to having it on the agenda. That is actually in the law.
Right, having it on the agenda, it's on the agenda.
Which item are we?
In this form that it's on, in this form, it's on the agenda.
We asked for
Not
an
independently.
action item on the agenda, and that did not happen. For the emergency management.
Time out. We're crossing over
This
to
is a
emergency management?
completely- No. This agenda setting was what we had discussed 2 weeks ago about one person sending an email with a topic, and Cheyenne sending it out, and another member of the council saying, yes, we want to discuss that.
So you agree that that paragraph is in compliance with that request?
That is, but
Okay.
what we did before is we actually had them in the meeting, and we all voted to have an item added to the agenda, and that did not happen. That actually is the law.
Okay, so if I can jump in, if this is item 9A, I have plenty to discuss on that one when we get to it. Why it's not on, so
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So we'll clarify what she's asking. Okay.
Well, I don't think, if 9A is you're referring to emergency management, I think that's exactly what she's
I
referring
am.
to.
Okay.
No, you
Yeah.
are, but the fact that it didn't get put onto the agenda when it was voted.
And I have.
He will answer that.
All that.
Okay, so this agenda setting one, it doesn't, so it sort of acts like it needs to be in a meeting, but we discussed it just being via email. or a phone call, or probably email, so it's written. If one of us wants a specific item on the agenda, we just email Cheyenne, and then they will email that request out to the rest of council to say,
Right.
do you want this on the agenda?
Correct.
And only one other person. So it's not really written that way.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that it doesn't have to be in person, and that it can be done by email.
Oh, yeah, right,
So I think it
doesn't
needs to
say
be more specific than what it is.
Okay. Let me ask Phil to address that for next time.
Okay.
The council shall make the request through the mayor and city secretary.
So do you think
Rest is
just be more
forwarded to city
specific
council.
as to via phone call, email, in
It probably needs to
person?
be email.
Okay.
I think it needs to be electronic, or at least written.
Right, I got it.
But I think that needs to be, because I think this is too vague for what I had intended that to be, or we had intended that to be.
Got it.
Okay?
Especially if it's going to be an ordinance instead of just a policy.
It could be changed to resolution even, but it came in as an ordinance because Phil looked at it and addressed it that way in order to strengthen it and codify it into an ordinance. So, you're going to take that away, Jeff?
I'm putting a note in there for Phil, and part of the thing doing an ordinance is then, I think the idea is that you would eventually have them online nicely codified. It's kind of the next step to make sure that things that have been kind of in paper form around the office are really put out. So, that's
Sure. Well,
Go ahead. Thank you.
in short, we just want to make sure if two council members want something on the agenda, it gets on the agenda. So however it needs to be written, that's my opinion, and I'm one vote. I'm a little more direct.
Just saying.
Okay, so item 6C, we had enough discussion to say there's a lot of wording that needs to change, et cetera. So I'm going to entertain a motion that might guide us into what you want to do next.
I'll make them, oh, go ahead.
I think we should table it until the verbiage is correct.
We have a motion by Ms. Ladart, seconded by
Me.
me.
Good job.
Thank you, Angela. To table, and there's an until or date. What would you like to specify, Susan?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure when Phil's back, but I think the...
I think we can get it by next.
How about next agenda?
I think this is the right one. We need to look at the verbiage as opposed to the other one where we know the sentence, that we
Right.
can take a look at how Phil words and make sure we're really comfortable.
By next meeting? Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Susan, seconded by Angela, to table 2026-10 until the next meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. We're moving to item 6D.
Excuse me.
Discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 2026-03. This resolution comes forward after council discussions held on June 2nd, 2026. The committee has not been functional for several years, and council seeks to reinstate its need. Resolution 2026-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, reviewing and adopting the City of Simonton investment policy and making other findings and provisions related to the subject. The initial motion to select is to select a council member who will serve on the investment committee as specified in the policy. So I'd like to entertain a motion to name a council member as a designated member of the investment committee.
Are we
Making a
gonna
motion.
discuss? Oh, I know.
If you want to discuss among the four of you, yes, as to who the council member should be.
Well,
Hold on.
is this rewritten from September 2012? Or the verbiage under here rewritten from 2012? Because it says right here that this scope, the policy was adopted September 12, 2012.
Right, that's the one we found.
Okay, so is the verbiage on this different from the one in 2012?
Nope.
So there's no verge difference.
All we're trying to do is is take it back and say you wanted to, actually, the request was to do what we said we were going to do.
Whatever was presented last time
Yes.
was an investment policy. It was literally copied and pasted just onto a new letter. And strategy will be fixed. But
It's spelled correctly, but that'll be fixed.
So this exact guideline is the exact same from September 17th, 2012. There's no changes in verbiage in any of this.
Correct.
Not to my knowledge, I literally copied and pasted.
We pulled it from the policy as we had it and put it out here because the desire was to bring it back alive, I guess is the way you say it.
So the investment officer before wouldn't have been the city administrator?
I can't answer that. All I can say is that whatever was happening in the investment policy was not as written in the policy. And that's really all I can say. So now we're bringing it back and say, adhere to the policy. Let's get it going. And you can read the policy to see what it says.
Yeah, I did read the policy, and that's why I was concerned or confused a little bit, because it doesn't seem like investment officer should be the mayor and a city council member and the city secretary, because the city secretary, there's kind of specific rules and guidelines about what city secretary should do according to the law. But there's also, I'm concerned about having 3 people do investments who aren't investment people.
I agree. So here's what I would say on that. When this was written, I guess when this was written back in 2012, they had confidence in either the city secretaries or whatever, but actually it just said you can have one councilman you can select, who could be somebody who has investment capabilities, right? But this is only a committee. This is not the decisioning party. This is a committee. Like any other committee, you recommend. And I guess you would want the best people recommending the best solutions if you're going to do this.
Mayor, can we provide input? How was the person doing that?
Not at this time. Dan, they need to absorb what they have and make suggestions on what's actually there. Appreciate it.
So you say, Mr. Anthony, so this is a committee. So we're doing a resolution for a committee. But who makes the actual decision?
Well, they need to read through the whole thing.
Well, I did, but never thought.
And I can appreciate that. So let me see if I can help a little bit, Andy. When it talks about all the things that have to happen, which includes, if you look at the delegation of authority and training, City Council will designate an investment officer for the city. The Chief Financial Officer, acting on behalf of the City Council, has been designated as the investment officer of the city, responsible for investment management decisions and activities. The City Council retains ultimate fiduciary responsibility. So up until this point, as far as I know, has been I guess, delegated to the mayor to have to make all of those decisions and manage with New First. Now, the thing about this is that we do have New First, and that's something that has happened along the way. There's text pool, there's New First, there's investment things that we do, pretty solid, right? We know what they are. We can tell you what they are. They're not like willy-nilly, go make a CD here, go make a CD there, that type of thing.
Right.
So since 2012, things have changed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the question is, if you read the investment guidelines and strategies, do you still agree with this is the policy that you would like enforced? And if you want to change it, I mean, we've had this for a while. No, like you said, Andy, it's a lot in there.
Yeah, I read a couple of them.
So I don't really care. I want you to make the right decision, but if we need to table this and have it further analyzed or bring back for more discussion at another meeting.
I think my biggest concern is I think that we need to keep the city secretary out of the finances in this regard. Like in general, I think there was other things in there where it said city council, you have mayor, city council, and the secretary. And I don't think that, when I looked it up, that's not very common at all to have the city secretary involved in any of that. And actually with the law that's not. My suggestion would possibly be to do the mayor and 2 council members. But I know everything is brought back to the council for discussion. So if I'm not mistaken, years past, it was the city administrator, a council member, I don't remember, but And I don't mind you doing that. I just don't think that the city secretary should be involved in that.
So I think the concept of the secretary is that she's a continuing person, not one who's going to change every 2 years by election. And so things that happen...
But she stays, hopefully.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
So I guess the concept is that you need some continuity in, at least somebody with some knowledge of what's happening as city council may change. So that might have been it. I can't say for sure. But even the mayor can change. I mean, any one of us can change, so.
I think for safety, everything I read said that's not a position for her.
Okay, so how would you want this changed?
So it does state right here in the Type A or Type B general law municipalities that separating positions of city secretary and finance officer is widely considered best practice by auditors and the TML. So it's just not a safe policy to put the city secretary in a position of the financial stuff.
Okay.
So personally, I think that this ordinance or resolution or whatever, the guideline, probably needs to be brought into the 2026 era of the city growing. And I think that we need to be really cognizant of who we have overseeing this stuff, and I think the mayor should be one of the people, and a council member, and a finance person. And at this point, that finance person is part-time. It's Stacy. But I think that sort of solidifies the fact that we desperately need a full-time finance administrative person.
Glad to hear you say that.
We need to be, well, I don't think that's been denied, that we need that type of person.
Okay.
So I think that this needs to be brought, like I said, into the 2026, because we're growing, the city's growing, and I think that whether we have that person today or not, I think that needs to be added into this verbiage.
So Susan, are you maybe volunteering to help reconstruct this
Sure.
thing? Okay.
Sure.
So I still would want, do you like that?
I think it was spot on.
You saw what he just did to you. Okay, anyway.
No,
the,
it's fine. I don't mind.
No, I think you're well qualified, but
Yeah, I think
I'll
it needs to
guarantee
be
that.
updated.
All
I think it
right,
needs to
so
be updated.
what we want to do then is you'd like to make a motion to,
work on it, update
To
it.
table it and let Susan.
I have
you work
a
on it.
discussion.
yes, sir, go ahead.
First of all, I like this idea. Get a couple people involved for the investment of the city. Now, how that turns out, I think this is a good idea. Let's refine it. You know, you got some help here, and that way we got several eyes looking at it. And we want to get the most bang for our buck for the taxpayers. So.
I mean, think about it, it's 2012, and now we're in 2026, it's time.
Well, in 2012, the city of Simonton wasn't growing.
Right.
2012, the city of Fulshire was tiny.
And we didn't have $2.6 million in the bank either then. All right, so do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table this, and then the mayor's gonna work with Councilmember Ladart in coming up with a more current investment strategy guideline, and we're gonna be removing the city secretary from this and adding the financial person.
Give me a minute to write all of that.
Oh, my bad. I'm
So
sorry.
I have a motion by Angela to table 2026-03, in addition to have Susan Ladart work with the mayor to modify and bring back to council.
And probably get input from Stacy as well, since she's familiar with this.
And remove the city secretary from
Yes.
one of the three people.
Well, I think that's what we'll...
No, I know, I just wanted it in the notes.
Okay. Susan Ladart to work with mayor and to remove city secretary from any responsibility. Correct?
For now.
Angela?
Yes. I know.
To start.
But you take it from there.
Okay.
I
let
think
me-
it sound better if it was financial responsibility, but,
Right.
because she's going to help out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Good catch.
Do I have to
Any
amend
fun-
it?
Yeah, well, here, no, you don't have to amend it. I'm just going to write it one time and then we can do it. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to ask for a second, and then I guess I'm going to read it and then ask for a second. We're on a motion. We have a motion by Angela to table 2026-03 and have Susan Ladart to work with the mayor and to remove city secretary from any financial responsibility and to bring back at a subsequent meeting, because we don't know when it's going to take. If everybody heard that, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Andy. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Who was the second?
Andy?
Andy.
So I appreciate the research y'all have done, and I'm sure we're going to have a better product when this is all done. Okay, we're going to move to 6E. This item was discussed with feedback also on 6-2 in our meeting. Resolution 2026-04, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simonton adopting the City of Simonton key code and password control policy and making other findings and provisions related to the subject. We had input at the meeting that y'all contributed. We received no additional input, so Cheyenne and I created the documents that you're going to have in here, that you have. And so I'm going to open it for discussion if you have any changes to the documents that was provided to you.
I actually don't have any changes. Okay, well, I don't, but I just wanted to make a comment in regards to this to make sure, because I wasn't here when you guys discussed this, so I apologize. I don't have a problem personally with this, but my only, I guess, reservation is previous council, it was a huge thing. And they were attacked. They were attacking, saying, oh, well, we can't get in, and we're not allowed in, and they're keeping us out. We're not allowed access to the offices. And then, you know, the mayor at the time was called out on social media for not allowing access. And this is doing the exact same thing, which I'm okay with. I don't want to have access to going in there with the key code, and when I'm not, I don't care. I mean, so I'm okay with this. I just don't want the flip side to happen in the sense that all the attacks that happened before with not letting council in. Does that make sense?
Kinda.
Okay.
But this is actually what I think should have been done all along, right? A council can come in anytime during work hours. There's nothing, we're not gonna hold a council person out, right? But that is a work area that we need to have secured, and there's documents left out and checks, and, right?
I'm not
And so I think council would agree that if you want to come in to visit with anyone, you call the city secretary, you get in. But for that, you don't need the key code. And so we have indeed changed the key code. So one of the suggestions was if you change it, you'll figure out who wants it, and we did. And so no one has asked, except maybe Stacy forgot, and then she remembered.
Okay.
And then she remembered. I mean, it's probably been the other number for some time,
You
so.
locked yourself out, and I got a call.
Yeah, oh, you did?
I was out of town. She's like,
I gotta,
There's one missing, though. Emergency management is not on there.
So emergency management
We have
has access to the garage.
Right.
And that's a code that they have already. The same thing with the fire department.
So
They
we
can
don't-
get in.
But they're all
Well, wait, we can,
computers?
they do have to get in to get all the equipment. When an incident is called, whatever, you have to have wide open, right? And you're gonna come in here and you're gonna set up and do
So
all
I
those
think
things.
emergency management should have, because if somebody here, like you or Cheyenne, can't get in to open the entire office because it's flooding or whatever, emergency management needs to have 100% access to the front door, to be able to get in from the other side to the garages,
So,
and in through the kitchen and all that stuff, because this is a safety haven for emergency management. They live here.
and so let's consider how many people are on emergency management and what their
No,
job.
the head person for emergency management needs to have access to that.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Okay. So I agree, emergency management has to get in, has to open up the place. No doubt, no doubt. We ought
I
to
mean,
limit how
obviously,
many.
the offices will still be locked. They don't need access to the offices, but they need access to the...
No, actually, everything is in the mayor's office, and all of the computers and radios and everything else is locked in there, on the second lock.
Okay.
So
they
it
would
has.
need access to that.
Yes, yes. And absolutely, if I'm there, it's all open, right? So that's not
But
an
if
issue.
you're not, I mean, if it's...
She can open it.
But if she's not here,
She's on the emergency team.
You're on emergency management? You don't know?
Volunteered myself for that.
So, yes, I hear you, Susan, and it has to be handled.
right.
Okay.
So that's just one that I saw was missing. Other than that, I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
I'm gonna make a note on that anyway.
Yeah, from personal experience, like quite a bit, they don't always happen between 8 to 5. I can guarantee you that.
Usually happen at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just saying.
True that.
And I have a discussion.
Okay?
The personnel authorized to issue keys. Issuance of a key will be authorized by the city council indicated Appendix A. So every time we want to add somebody, it's got to come back to council. That's the way I read it.
So, you see who has the keys, right?
Well, I'm talking about here in the policy,
Oh, okay, let me turn.
very first sentence.
Sorry, let me go backwards. Okay?
What sentence did you say, Andy? I'm
You
sorry.
said the first sentence, the purpose?
Yeah, personnel
Authorized by
authorized to
city
issue keys
Okay.
will be authorized by city council indicated Appendix A.
So what would happen is if we want to make a change to these authorizations, city council should be aware, period. So
But it's saying we approve it,
you have,
just making sure you're aware.
So all of these people are automatically approved if we approve this today, and we don't have to say, oh, so-and-so from the city
Correct.
council gets a key back.
correct.
And if you want to
Just
add
emergency
anybody, it has to.
Well, it's up to city council, right? If you want to close it down to where nobody gets a key unless it comes to council,
That's
unless
not
they're
what
in.
I'm saying. I'm just saying, if you find out somebody needs a key,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to come back to council, get our authorization to give them a key.
if y'all so desire.
That's
Wait a
what the
second.
state.
That's what it states.
So then maybe we should change it, if it should be different.
It's just,
Because understand this, if somebody needs access and is legitimate, I'm right there. I'm a mile away and I'm full-time. So basically, I could come open the door if they needed to, but that's not the point. The point is, how does the council feel about who should be authorized to give a key? Other than what's on, you're about to approve, right? And that's up to you.
no, I agree. I mean, we're trying to make new policies and update
Right.
them. Just make sure we don't find ourselves in a corner.
Yeah.
But
So what you're saying is like, if all of these things are automatically approved,
Done.
Cheyenne can dump a key out, and we don't have to say,
Correct.
Andy gets a key.
Correct.
So we just want to make sure the verbiage is clear that the people that are on this chart don't have to go through an extra city council.
Well, and I'm
saying,
more
yeah.
concerned, you keep bringing up the EOC, but we keep saying, well, there's discussion later. Well, are we going to come back to this in case we need to add the EOC?
I think
We
that,
can bring it back up, of course, you can.
Then we would have to re-motion this.
I think, for
Well-
me, I would motion now that emergency management has access to the same things that the city secretary and the mayor have access to in the event of emergency.
But you better specify, it can't be everybody on emergency management.
I don't know
right?
who's all on emergency management.
That's yet to be decided. That's still in flux right now. And so,
So I would say,
if you just say.
I would say at least
Excuse me?
2 people.
I was just gonna say, I put a note in here and I was gonna see if I could stop myself, but I can't. Cyber keys, I don't know if y'all discussed them.
Yes.
The cost is the thing. Having done tons of these, I did government investigations for City of Houston for many years, tons of smaller cities and other stuff. The tracking on those, it keeps a log. You can turn them off instantly, you can change access, you can have access just to certain doors, just at certain times. Just putting it out there that it is a wonderful tool. I don't know if maybe it's cost prohibitive and it's already been discussed, but every client I've seen, when it's a punched number, so many things can be traced back. I said, if you just had cyber keys, a lot of this could have been avoided. So just want to put it out.
So you couldn't hold back, could you?
No,
All right, so.
We have it, and it's expensive, but if we did make a motion, that what I would recommend is the EOC director, head, whatever the title is, and then, of course, it goes back to where they keep the keys. And if Jim Smith is no longer, then it goes to Sally. Well, then Jim gets crossed off, no more
And the key
key,
gets
and then
Right,
it goes to Sally.
right. And that's this law, and it's a,
And it keeps the law,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. Yeah.
So I guess, you know, you mentioned a good thing. I mean, all of us, if we have the money, we're going cyber keys. I mean, I would just say it right now, I propose that,
What
right?
happens if somebody doesn't bring the key back? You gotta change all the
Just, you
locks.
can, right now, we had to change the locks not that long ago, for whatever reason it was, and that's not cheap.
No, it's not.
And right now, she has all the keys, they're under lock, and there is this procedure, and it's in place. And it seems to be working. I don't know that I've had any complaints about somebody not being able to open a door or whatever. So it's up to the...
We technically table this just until we get through 9A and then come back to
You
vote
can-
on this?
Can I add some
Yes.
notes, please?
Sure.
Can you give me an example of who your designee would be?
Say that again?
You asking me?
Yes, that's stated many times in this document.
Who my designated person would be the secretary
No,
right
no,
off the
no,
bat.
no. She's already listed in here.
So you want a third person designated?
Well, either that or remove that verbiage from here.
And what verbiage is that?
The mayor and his or her designee are assigned the key to the city, city secretary, and I have a problem with this too, deputy city secretary. Who is that?
It's a good question. There is none.
So why is it in here?
Because somebody left it in.
Again, I think this document is poorly written, but to get to the Appendix A, there are oftentimes the committees that meet here need access to the copier. So EDC, KSB, etc. Just saying. I need access to sign checks. That's not on here. I suggest that we add the constables to the garage code so that they have access to restrooms while they are on shift.
So there's one that comes all the time. It comes in during day hours.
She means at night though.
Yeah. Garage code, thank you. Okay.
And how are we going to ensure that multiple groups aren't needing City Hall at the same time?
We did talk about that, and I'm going to send out an email to the head of each person that's on this list and let them know that when you're planning on having a meeting, it needs to be...
We moved to Mondays, so we shouldn't have any conflicts with
Let me
Gateway
know
anymore.
when, that way I can check the calendar and put you on the calendar and make sure
Right.
that nobody else ends up here at the same time as you.
So the calendar's kind of important because it's public, right? And
But
so-
I think that also needs to be included into this document. So it's all together.
So like
And
maybe have temporary
Angela, I have
codes for those
Mondays,
days.
that's usually when KSB meets. So there could be a conflict of interest, or not conflict of interest, a conflict there.
Yeah, and usually when that happens, KSB goes in the office center.
But right now, they're wiping out KSB from having access to over here.
Yeah, so when we have a calendar and it says KSB's meeting or or EDCA or anyone else, and it never gets deleted because a meeting doesn't happen, then that actually prevents someone else from using their own, correct? So I would suggest to council that we also need to maintain the calendar when you're not going to use it and you have not posted, to get it off the calendar, and so that the public knows they have access to that room.
I know that, I mean, the EDCs and KSB, we have to submit agendas and all that.
Yes.
So at that point, it should be on the calendar. Correct?
Well, it's standard on there for you, right? It's already on the calendar months ahead for EDCA, EDCB, normal
There's
dates.
a recurring,
It's a recurring thing.
but...
So I guess I'm saying, if you're not going to have the meeting and you didn't provide an agenda, you're right. She could recognize that and say, I'm taking it off, if that's what you're asking.
I mean, I didn't realize there was a recurring thing on there, so
It's been like that.
I would actually suggest getting rid of that.
Oh, we definitely can.
I mean, because we submit our agendas a week in advance.
Okay, well, Justin's not here, but we can certainly take it off for B, if you, unless you want to speak for him too.
Well, I mean, I'm also speaking for KSB as
He's
well.
A.
Okay.
We're A. Justin's A.
Yeah, but he's not here. You want to speak?
I'm on there.
You want to speak for him to say, take it off?
Yeah, take off recurring for.
Well, that's not what we're.
Yeah.
All right, great. We made some progress here.
I have a question about this same sentence though, because it doesn't, what's here is not correct and true. It says the mayor and his or her designee are assigned the key, and his city secretary and deputy city secretary are assigned the code. I have both.
So we just need
You need
to
both.
read.
I have a key and a code. So
We have to have both.
the way that this reads is that I'm only supposed to be assigned a code.
You got to fix that.
That's what I'm saying. So we need to change this.
You couldn't get into your office if you only had
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't even get in here.
All right, so I'll make a motion to table 6E until changes are made. And then I think there was a lot of discussion as to what all those changes would be, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, more.
I'll try.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Yeah, emergency
I
management.
have a motion by Angela to table
Yes, please.
till,
Until the verbiage is correct and all added groups are added correctly, if we decide, or whatever we decide with emergency management, and the verbiage on, that Cheyenne and Kelly both mentioned. It just needs to be fixed, because we don't have a deputy city secretary.
And we need to worry about that designee.
Right, and the designee, and just like what Cheyenne mentioned, the verbiage for her to make sure she had both. All that?
want to repeat all that?
Oh, I got it. Yeah,
I'm just
she got
kidding.
it. You got it?
You got it? Thank you. You want to read it back to me in the motion?
Yeah.
Not really.
That's the issue, it's got to be read back in. Okay, so Angela, we have a second, and I'll try to walk through this. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
To table?
I'll second.
Okay, Susan? To table 2026-04, requiring verification and addressing wording and removal of of deputy. And any other changes submitted by council via email. That should cover everything. And then we'll bring this back. Everyone's with me on that?
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other discussion?
Really, we're gonna have to map this out. Keys are not easy. It gets complicated, as we just talked about.
Absolutely. If you want to walk, I'll show you her key codes and stuff. It's unbelievable. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Resolution 2026-04 is tabled. Item 6F. Okay. Item 6F. Before we get into the actual resolution, it has to do with mid-mod grant requirements. So discussions were held regarding the mid-mod grant requirements. Grant funds must be accounted for and kept separate as required by GLO, and signature changes are needed for GLO and New First. Fund view must be aligned with these accounting and signature requirements. So from an action, Fund 400, grant entries in Fund View were found to be inaccurate with several prior years' entries assigned incorrectly. The city, you have a document attached to, that's called mid-mod grant monies.
Oh, the other one, not in our,
Mid-mod grant monies.
yeah.
Okay. The city will continue working with Finance and Peacock to identify and correct these errors, separate each grant as required, and ensure proper accounting goes forward. So, Finance Resolution 2026-05 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simonton adopting updated purchasing policies and procedures related to federal grants, providing for repealer, severability, and effective date. I will now entertain discussion or a motion.
So, where did this come from? Because it's very much a copy paste wherever it came from, because like all the .coms are still blue, everything, so was this just copied and pasted from somewhere?
What?
This, the City of Simonton Federal, or,
Yes, that came directly from GLO.
GLO.
okay.
Yep.
We just put our name on the top.
Right, got it.
Like I also said, just for federal grant procurement policies, I just did a couple for some of my clients. They're pretty much, when you say copy and paste, that's what everyone does, because it's pretty much the same thing. If you don't have it, you are not in the best position to receive any grants. For anything receiving federal funding, priority is given to those organizations that already have something in place, or they will slow down your application to review your policies, tweak them, and then maybe if there's still funds, you'll get them. So it is
Should we
something
not
I'd
currently
advise.
have policies in place?
I don't think so, or they
Not
can't be federal.
Federal procurement.
Not for federal procurement.
Correct.
Federal has a lot stricter stuff. There's certain things that have to be in federal contracts. So if you at all want to possibly receive federal funds in the future, you gotta have that.
And you put this ordinance together?
I'm assuming Phil did. I didn't do it, but when you say they're copy and paste, they all look, the feds kind of tell you you're in one seat.
Well, he's speaking to the wording of the ordinance itself. Everybody knows that the rest of the documents are from feds.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
the code of ethics.
And so, the point is that with meetings that I've had with, Craig, I think you were there, right? With Danielle, yes.
Correct.
And that, there's information that keeps coming out, and they brought it to our attention that says, you have to separate the money. And you can't, for federal money, mix it with any other grant money. And so what's gonna have to happen is, just like we're gonna talk later about restricted funds, it has to be separated, and so Peacock's gotta help me, and we gotta separate it in fund view, and then we have to separate the money. And the thing about the federal money is it's gonna come in, and then it's gonna go out.
Right.
And so when I look at how we're gonna invest that money, it'll have to just be a money market. It's going in, it's coming right back out in 3 days. So
You don't invest it.
you don't really invest it, you just throw it in there for a penny or two. But it has to be interest-bearing. They said it has to be an interest-bearing account, so the only option then is, okay, interest-bearing for days? We're gonna go in, we're gonna go out. Yeah.
Savings account or something.
So, yeah, and Susan, you and I can talk about that. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Any other discussion?
No, when I read it, of course, I've been working a little bit with the mayor on the grant process, which is extremely mind-numbingly slow. Anything that can help and make sure we got all of our T's crossed and I's dotted, when I read it, of course, Jeff's saying the same thing. I would definitely recommend let's get this passed and move on.
Okay, so I take that in the form of a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt 2026, oh, wait, 6F.
2026-05, that's fine, you're good?
Yeah, okay, 6F. 2026-05, resolution of City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, adopting updated purchasing policies and procedures to related federal grants, providing for repealer, severability, and effective date.
Motion by Andy, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Susan. Is there any further discussion?
Where do you get see-through Post-its? Those are cool.
Amazon.
Okay. Hearing no other discussion, we'll now proceed to voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. And you'll probably get some information coming back from this and the actions that are needing to be taken, because there's still accounts to be set up and things that have to happen. All right, we're going to move to 6F. 6G. Like I said, 6G.
So we just got.
And I would appreciate if y'all actually take the additional information I've given to you and give it a once-over so you can see how it actually is mixed and what it has actually been used for a couple of times, and so you understand the urgency to get this done.
For F or G?
Now we're on G for F. I'm talking about F. the
Yeah, we just got
document.
that today.
Right. Some things are fresh off the press sometimes, right? Okay, 6G, Resolution 2026-06. A resolution of City Council, City of Simonton, Texas, designating signature authorities for the Texas General Land Office grant. Now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, that following city officials are authorized signatories on behalf of the City of Simonton, Texas for the GLO Community Development Block Grant Mitigation CDBG MIT, Contract 24065168 FOZ83 from the Texas General Land Office. Number one is the mayor, and what I'm going to entertain now is for a council member to be added as a second person required on this resolution.
Does it need to be different from the second signer that we have for everything else?
Doesn't have, that's whatever you decide. It can remain who it was. It can change to anyone you want.
Well, so who, what, was it, is this Kelly on this one?
This was Kelly prior, yes, and then they're having to read, it's not like I could say just, look, I'm the new mayor and we don't have to do anything. Nope, you have to have reauthorization between the mayor and the other person, so that's why we have to do it this way.
I think it's just cleaner to keep it as Kelly since she's already the secondary and all the other signage.
You okay?
Yay!
Yay! I heard a yay. Okay, so I'll now entertain a motion to add Kelly to Resolution 2026-06.
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to add Kelly as the council member to sign on Resolution 2026-06.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? We'll now proceed to a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. The second part of this motion is to ask for a motion on Resolution 2026-06 to approve 2026-06. Is there any further discussion on the actual resolution?
Nope.
Okay.
I approve we just approved Kelly to be added, so I approve the resolution.
Right. Okay, so
2026-06.
motion by Susan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Angela. To approve 2026-06. I'm going to say as amended because we actually did put a name into it, so we'll say as amended. Is there any further discussion? We'll now proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Motion passes 4-0. That one's done. Now, we get to fun stuff. Item 7 is reports, and the first one is from the mayor. And it's going to be something a little unusual that's going to happen right now, but we can ask Jeff for anything you want to ask him, but we'll go through it. I signed the representation letter for Brooks & Watson, thus completing the requirements for you to be able to get the final issuance of our financial report, to receive the financial documents. So there's no changes from the draft that you were presented in 6/2/2026. So going back to 6/2/26, however, I found that we did not approve it. So what I need now is I need an entertain a motion to approve 2025 City of Simonton financial report.
So, and I think the reason we didn't approve it was because
We thought it would change.
It was a draft.
It was a draft, and you could approve the draft and it becomes real,
Right.
but the problem is, well, I can read you the rest of what I have here, but the point is that now it is time to say, he didn't change a thing. The questions were all about restricted funds, and I'll mention some more about that shortly. And so, with that, nothing being changed, you can approve this as your final.
I'll make a motion.
No financial dollars or anything changed from the
I
draft.
understand that, but we didn't approve it because they were still going to go back and look at 2018 and yada.
All right, so let me get to that point then. So the rest of this, to give you some more information as to why this can be approved and not be concerned, at my request, so reference to restricted funds by John Watson was the question that was brought up. We have a question about restricted funds, and I had asked him about it. So at my request, Eddie Peacock created proper fund entries in FundView to establish separate funds for restricted roads and child safety as requested in the audit. The balance for road maintenance restricted funds is now $307,634 and $4,010 for restricted child safety fund. Those amounts will be transferred to new First City operating accounts upon completion of establishing those new accounts. So you have at the back of your binder the data that was used, which includes a listing going way back. Hopefully you can find it.
Oh, this one, the one you gave us today?
It's under the binder.
This one?
It's under.
Oh, I found that.
So what he had to do with CPA Peacock and John Watson is to go back as far as they could, for instance on roads, and they used 2022 when Barnes Road had work done, and said we're going to at least go back to there, get all the sales tax information, take 1/4 cent out, identify it as restricted road funds, because that's what it's supposed to be, and then come up with the figures. And then on the child safety fund, there's a certain amount that's been coming in, and it's not a lot of money, so it's a certain amount that's been coming in, but it also has to be restricted. And I really don't know what to use those funds for, but we'll find out later. But we do know what road maintenance restricted funds are for. So with that done, we come back to the actual financial report and say, not a dollar has changed in his report of how we stand as far as the financials, but we are going to make some changes as for where the money is in your first bank to get it restricted. Is that clear? Are we?
Yeah, my question.
Okay.
May?
Yep.
I thought I brought it with me and I don't. And I saw those numbers, but what did it change from? So the total number, whatever.
It didn't change.
The restricted funds, but he said he was going to go back.
Oh, okay. I think I
And it was
$307,634 was found and categorized as having to be restricted from going all the way back to 2022 and...
Well, okay, so let me reframe it. Is it taken out from other line items?
It's taken out from our general fund. So the general fund, I think we had in here, if we go look at it,
Yeah, okay.
2.6 million or something, right? So 307,000 is going to be moved into the restricted funds. You still have the same total money,
So
but
we
it's
could have
accounted
some for
for.
roads, it's just not broken out. It's just an aggregate number of $307,000. That's my question.
Okay.
From sales.
And it's more difficult to explain in the sense that in our budgets, we've been talking about roads, and we even got money from Texpo to put into roads, right? So we as a council, is going to have to look at, okay, so we did all of those things. How does that match up to $307,000 that's actually dedicated to the roads? And has been restricted, should have been restricted all along to the roads. So if we say, for instance, I can't tell you that you actually have an extra $307,000 right now for us to go spend on roads. I can tell you that that's what should have been restricted and is going to be accounted for and brought back into roads from the general operating. Now, we have an entry, $307,000. We have a budget that says we're going to spend this, this, and this. We have all the other things we can account for now in the budget that says we move money from Texpo, we want to get these other roads done, right? So we have to get that, we have to go back and revisit explicitly what council approved and what money we think we're spending, and then that money comes from this account. So when we make entries in the future, the money coming in for 1/4 cents is going to be added to the restricted fund, and the money we spend on roads and maintenance is going to be coming out of that same fund. This fund can be, depending on how much money is in it, can be interest-bearing and make us some money off of just having it in that fund.
So the 440 or 400 and some odd thousand we have for roads this year, if we get to spend it or not, that we budgeted, 307 could come out of the restricted fund that we're going to create because of this audit.
So what you would have done without this, what you would have done is said, we want to spend $400,000 on roads. Where's the money coming from? General fund? This says you can take the money from restricted roads.
Right.
And so we're just going to have to look at that again on the budget and figure out how is this all going to work and balance. But in the future, the road money will be restricted so that it cannot be used for anything other than roads.
So 1/4 cent will go in that fund
Yes.
no matter what?
No matter what.
Once we get it funded, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm already working with New First to get the account set up. It's not as easy as you might think, but we're going to get there. And then how you got to the number is what you have on that attachment. Is
And that
what
came
they
from the
went-
auditor.
And that came from the auditor.
Right.
Auditor and Peacock.
Yes.
So our auditor and John Watson got together.
And he spoke about that a couple weeks ago.
Yes. He did.
Yeah.
Told us he was coming back with that A number, we just didn't know what the number was.
Okay, so now that we have discussed that, what I would like to have is a, wait a minute, hold on, I gotta check something here. Yes. So now I need a motion to approve the 2025 City of Simonton Financial Report,
Can I
which
ask a
says
question?
nothing has changed, so now approve it because we did not approve it.
Why wasn't this an agenda item as opposed to under mayor reports?
Because it didn't get onto the agenda item, so I can't push it into the mayor report because it was too late on the agenda item. That's the answer. And actually, you're correct in that it makes it a little bit more complicated, but checked with the lawyer, and as far as being able to do this as a motion at this time, it's legal. Are we good?
Yep.
Any other discussion? I'll now entertain a motion to approve the 2025 City of Simonton Financial Report.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Susan?
I'll second it.
Andy? Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain?
Yeah, doesn't that mean I'm not voting? Well, I wasn't here and I didn't get, and I told you I had a really hard time
Okay.
hearing.
No, you can abstain. Abstain says you're not voting, right.
That's what I'm doing.
It'll still carry. We have three in favor, none opposed, one abstain. Okay, motion carries 3-0 with one. All right, so I spoke about the actual monies and what's going to happen there, and you had to attach to your binder. And now we're going to talk about the mid-mod grant. So additional Langford and LJA information. Langford was to produce a report to council tonight, and that report could not be completed in time for this meeting. So Langford has agreed to attend a meeting on 7/7/2026, along with LJA, to present to us more information on the mid-mod grant and how we go from beginning to end. Newly discovered needs to record and track grant monies will require new first and fund due changes due to GLO federal requirements. We spoke about the restricted funds, and now the GLO funds and grants are going to have to change. So we have a code called 400 grants, and in this 400 grants, there's just one line item, but it actually had two grants, which is the remainder of this grant that we used for this, and the federal grant, and they cannot be mixed. So we're going to have to keep them separate. Peacock is in review of that, and we'll make the necessary changes. Purchase orders. Okay, so purchase orders to be executed for materials for road work. Hope to have Fort Bend commitment to do some work in between their already scheduled workload. The report on why we missed the deadline will be forthcoming. Andy Perry and I are working with selecting which roads can be funded and monies available so we can address with Fort Bend Road and Bridge to escalate if possible. Andy just got a list from me on amount of monies per road that was estimated, that we can select the roads that are left and are not being done by CBDG 22 are already handled, and make a PO and get the supplies in for Fort Bend County, and in doing so, we can try to push them to fit something in. The PO can still stand as a PO for the same material for that same road, so it won't be any wasted time. It'll just be done in advance. FM, question?
Okay, Andy, I thought we already had discussed the roads the additional roads that we were going to tackle
We have discussed it.
prior.
And,
I mean,
yeah,
we talked about.
Prior to, and there's not enough, we haven't budgeted enough money that everything, we got Craig's
Okay.
list too. We pretty much match. A couple questions, but I'll email you separately that we have. We've not budgeted enough that needs done
Oh, well, that.
by any stretch.
Right. But when he said come up with new roads, I thought we had already discussed like the ones that were next, like after the Mid-Mont. We already had come up
And
with.
that's maybe what he meant, I don't know.
No, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like different roads that we weren't aware of now.
No, the roads, I'd give a previous mayor, Lori, and then he'd give Craig, and then virtually we patched
It's
up.
probably more prioritized than these roads because
Right.
there's not enough money to.
Right.
Yeah.
So what he has is he has additional roads and the amount of
Right.
material we need.
We would need to
So
get it completed. Got
what
it.
we're doing is saying, okay, here's the ones that are already covered.
Right.
Here's the rest. If we can fit somebody in, here's the other roads. Now pick which ones you have enough money to address, and that's all it says.
Okay.
So this would be to procure the material.
Yes, we need a PO, and the way the POs work is, we need to understand that federal money requires a different process than our money. Our money, we can do what we want with. Federal money, they still need to know that we're doing it. They still have to have us report, we're going to spend some money on roads, and this is where it's going to go. You have to report up to them, and then they come back, and when you actually pay for it, say, okay, fine, you're paying for it, and then, but they still want to know. I guess it's so they don't think that we're going to double dip in some kind of way.
So do we have a estimate on what the procurement cost is going to be for the roads?
So we actually
just
have
got
the
this today,
detail.
so I don't have that.
Andy has it now, I sent it to him, and it's actually detailed out. I think LJA assisted in that, and
We took the
Fort
county's
Bend
numbers.
County's
The county
numbers.
has numbers based on the per mile of road, and so we've taken that and basically applied it to the mileage of each road.
No, just out of curiosity, is that just putting an overlay or is that stripping it up and putting something?
It's a combination.
Yeah.
So the county gives us, here's just an overlay, here's the rebuild, and we've tried to show which roads are, and there's probably some roads that could go either way, but generally, yeah, the original work was to try to figure out, okay, this road definitely, like Wagon, for instance, on the CUG, complete rebuild, but,
Yeah.
you know, some of the other ones, yeah, overlay would handle it. So, yeah, we've attempted, based on the county's pricing,
Well, the natural speed bumps are great. If you don't fall in the ditch.
So you drive wagons.
Idea is to get Craig or we've been working together, just pick out the roads we can, get it under PO, and if the county can get there.
Everything's
get
ready to
on.
go.
It's ready to
I
go.
got
We're
you.
not, we don't want any more excuses about holding back,
Right.
period.
So we know what those numbers are for procuring the materials?
Yes.
That's all we have to pay for at
Yes.
this point? Okay.
And so what he needs to do is, we need to get together and balance that money that we actually know we have with what roads we can attack, and take the worst first, if we can, right? And so that whole decision of it, Andy's on the team with me, and the rest of them, and we'll figure that out, and we'll bring back to council on what we're gonna do. If we can do anything, because it's still back to Fort Bend County to say, we have a snippet of time, or we don't.
Right, but I think we discussed last time that it's in our best interest to procure the material.
Absolutely,
So if they say
absolutely.
we can be there next week, we have the material that can be delivered.
That's exactly
Where's
it.
the material gonna be?
What it is a PO that's outstanding that they draw on.
No. Where is it going? Oh,
It'll
so
be
it
at the-
stays there
Yes.
until we need it.
At the material site, asphalt site, in the county trucks, they'll get it and bring it. We're just gonna say, hey, we're getting however many cubic yards.
Yeah, they don't have places to store all of this, so they just, you issue POs and then they go procure with our PO. And then we pay the PO. Any other questions on that? Okay, so, FM 1093 work, I think we're all aware now that it's happening, and that their timeline is about 3 weeks, depending on weather conditions, to impact 1093. They have the cones all set up. I actually went on the right-hand side one during the evening, and that part of what they built up was bumpity bump, and not very well done, but it looks like they've redone it, and to where it's a little bit more solid when you're going out. I had an inspection done on the propane tank. There was a mention of excessive rust. Local LP Brookshire performed that inspection again for me at no cost, and provided guidance on repair, and also inspected the connection to the generator. The generator radiator seemed dirty and in need of cleaning. Recommended work to propane tank includes removing rust, sealing rust area, sanding and repainting the entire tank. Generator maintenance agreement needs to be reviewed and have it cleaned. So we have somebody we pay to do that. We're just gonna have to hold them accountable and have them come back and clean that radiator. The lights on the west side of the parking area need repair due to one fixture being detached and via wind damage or incorrect installation, whatever. Note, if 2026-09, did we approve 2026-09?
We did not.
Okay. If 2026-09 is not approved, council will have to assign a council member or members to handle the hiring of a temporary person or company to do maintenance items as needed. The 250 committee conducted their initial brainstorming meeting, and great ideas are being developed and more information to follow on that as that develops. I've not received any project or budget request yet and asked the council to consider getting ahead of budgeting by reviewing information and what ideas might be considered for the 2026-2027 budget. It's coming up fast.
Do we have our first budget meeting date set? It should be in
No.
August, right? So it
Yes.
should- Okay.
It's normally in
July
August.
or,
Normally in August,
okay.
but, I mean, it's right around the corner, right? Okay, so Cheyenne and I met with Edward Norman of TDEM and submitted the required TDEM 147 form. That happened today. It's Texas Department of Emergency Management, in case. Okay, and that's pretty much mine. We're going to have city council reports. Justin is not here. Kelly?
I just have one thing. I just want to express my concern over the lack of timely communication of public updates about what's going on with the river, floods, etc. I've seen a couple of things on Facebook, but they're not official. It'd be kind of nice if something came from this office.
On the city website,
On the city website?
yes.
You're not seeing the information that is posted on there?
Like the active flood maps.
Correct.
Abby, can you answer anything on that?
She doesn't run her website.
I don't know the other side, just Facebook, Instagram.
Well, it's media, so we actually, and Cheyenne, do you have any comments on that?
I control the website.
Okay. And so when we get notifications from emergency management or anyone else, do we not push that out?
Not been instructed to, no.
Okay. All right, then we'll address that.
Is there a way that we can have access to, I mean, because if there's just a link to the floodgate information, it should be a live active link, and we just click on it, it should be updated.
I don't know if there is, I'm assuming there probably
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I can work
there.
with Cheyenne. I mean, we do this for a lot of websites, with putting it on there, so I'll work with her to get it updated. And then I can also work with her, I mean, I send, especially once the river gets above flood stage, or action stage typically, we'll step up our communication. So what I can do is it's very generic, but what I can do is I can tailor something that can be easily added to the website too, and it's pretty simple.
But can we also add it to the city's Facebook page?
Yeah, I can copy.
Yeah.
So I think people are at this point, like, watching and waiting. I don't think there's anything imminent at this point, but the fact that the river's really high and our grounds are so saturated that it's not draining anywhere at this point, it's just standing there. A lot of that is the ditches are not being cleared out. There's some like big stopping points right now. People need to get out there and clean their ditches. But letting people know which floodgates or which flood elevations affect us. Because people are going to look at Richmond, and that's downriver from us. So are we San Felipe? Are we,
So for the notices that I usually I'll step up, especially when we get above 35 to 40, I will really step up. In the past, I've stepped up our communication with the city because that's when it really starts to affect the city. We look at, from a flood management standpoint, we focus primarily on Hempstead and Richmond because of the history. San Philip is a newer gauge, and it is much better than it was just a few years ago. So we're starting to play, but like the forecast that came out yesterday, if you looked historically, not all three gauges could hit the elevation that they were proposing, even with the rain we saw. So it's kind of a guessing game. And so we look at all three, and then typically we'll provide some guidance to the city of, hey, based on these three gauges, this is what we're seeing historically, and then depending on what action needs to be taken, then the city can take that action from there.
So
And it gets tricky, and I know we talk about the other gets tricky is working with Road and Bridge on, gates and road closures and things like that, but, that's something that Road and Bridge is very in tune with and almost does it automatically.
So I had discussions with Darren, and Greg Bapps was invited to come here tonight to talk to us about that, but because of the conditions that are right now, he withdrew. Darren McKeska is a person who's always worked with us. Darren's the one who would come and check the river levels multiple times when the water was flowing in and all. So suffice to say, NOAA is a place of source to check all of the river gauges down, and that link has been out there for some time on social media and other pages if you individually wanted to do that. But the city should be posting, and I agree, should have links to be able to pull up most of those things just automatically on our webpage. And then we depend on LJA, and we depend on Fort Bend to give us this information. So I did meet I guess it's a week or so, with the Fort Bend County Judge and all the mayors around. And one of the topics was emergency management, and one of the topics was the river gauges. The Fort Bend County Judge told me explicitly that he's put money into the budget to fix the gauges because he doesn't even like how they're gauged in some cases, and that he needs more gauges. And I said, Simonton. And he said, well, I think y'all have one, but it's not there anymore. So I made a case for us to get our own gauge, which will give you multiple points of study. We'll see. The net effect is that Greg Bapst and the Emergency Operations Center will constantly monitor and put out statuses on what they see and how it's happening. So we also are in alignment with them. They are the Emergency Operations Center for us, and our plan, our emergency plan, is actually their plan. Yes? You're signaling me.
I'm signaling you're going way off topic.
Am I?
Well, the comment was just made to get it onto the website, and so I didn't know if you were still on reports or if we went on to a different whole topic or where we were at.
Okay, so, thank you.
I think having an active hyperlink to the gauges would be great.
For sure. On the website.
On the website,
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Kelly, you talked about what you needed to, right? Are we done?
I am, yes.
Thank you. Angela?
I just wanted to talk about the 250th party.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, we did have our first meeting. There's a lot of great committee members and volunteers that are wanting to step up and help out, so we're really excited about that. The only thing that I would like to discuss, and I know we can't take a voting action on that tonight, but for us to be able to plan accordingly and ahead of time so we're not struggling, we need to have a budget of knowing like what we can and can't spend. In our community budget, I think safely we only have about $1,000 that we could utilize. And to have the kind of event that we have all been talking about, it's going to cost a little bit more than that. I did talk to Stacy, her recommendation, because I asked her to kind of like look through and tell me how to find the money, right, and correctly. And her suggestion was to reach out to EDCB, because you have a line in your budget to help pay for, sorry, we just talked. I know you can't speak for your whole EDC, right, but if that would be something, I don't know when you have your next scheduled meeting, that we could take to vote, if that was something that the EDC, since it is community and that would fall under EDCB, if that's something that they could help with. I mean, if you ask them nicely. Well, they can vote on it.
You can comment if you like.
Huh?
I don't think that's wise right now.
To comment?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh. I'm just going by like what Stacy mentioned. She said that you guys had the money and that you had a line for it specifically, and that would be, so for me to ask tonight, for you to have a meeting to ask them.
I understand what you're saying, Angela, but
Okay.
I also think there's probably some line items that are with the city that can be looked at as well.
And I did ask her to do that too.
EDCB is hit for everything. Anytime there's an overage, go to EDCB. At what point are we gonna start funding zoning and everything else?
I didn't think you could, were you guys doing zoning?
Yeah.
No.
No.
We are part of the process.
Okay. Like I said, I just went by what was recommended. So, I mean, I can get back with Cheyenne and Stacy the same and ask them to find money. I just knew we couldn't take it from safety, which originally I didn't realize that was a federal line and we couldn't take from that. We're gonna use that for the stampedes. But all we have left in the community safely to use is about $1,000. So, no, we have checks out. Yeah, I talked to Stacy today. So, yeah.
So if monies are needed that are not necessarily going to come from EDCB or anywhere else, then the council meets and decides to do a budget amendment, okay? So it's not an issue.
Yeah, no, I knew it wasn't. I was just,
I understand.
yeah, I don't want to take it from reserves in any way. So we would need to find a line.
So I think after it's examined by Stacy and we come up with all the possibilities and we see, okay, they're all gone and we need money, then the responsibility for the 250 committee was come up with the budget and then tell us what you need.
Yeah.
And so if it's 1,000 more, 2,000 more, whatever, this council decides and just bring it back.
Okay. We
Anything
have to
else?
find the money in the lines before I bring it back to say this is where it's going to come from, so we could do.
I'll help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be helpful.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Susan?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Andy?
I'm good.
How are you now? Okay. The next item is 7C. And 7C, the only person left that I have, let me get to this first, is Jeff.
I was like,
Not dragging this out, nope, got nothing.
I was like, I don't have, what?
No, don't let me slow you down.
Okay, so the other thing you do have to report on, and that was what Phil was going to report on, is speak to emergency operations legal.
Isn't that 9A?
Did you just?
I hope it might, well,
I know I'm not getting out of this room without discussing it. I think 9A is the spot where,
okay, so actually you're correct. I was going to move to 9A if Greg and Darren had come, and then just do it all at one time. So why don't we leave it until I reach that? So,
Finish reports.
no, I'm on city staff now. So 7D is city staff, Cheyenne, and you're also the city secretary?
I am. Why is that both on there?
You get to speak twice.
Deity of that thing.
Okay.
Cheyenne, how did your training go the other day?
It was really, really good, actually. I very much enjoyed it, and I learned a lot about EDCs.
always getting hit up for money.
I have some other ideas too, so.
Don't ask Kelly.
Okay. Keep Simonton beautiful. 7F.
I really don't have anything to say other than KSB was involved with the first initial 250 celebration planning. I would assume that all the members of KSB will kind of intermittently be involved as the process goes on. But if I need to call a KSB meeting, please let me know in order to address the 250. But other than that, nothing really to...
Okay, so I remember now. So the reason to call KSB meeting was the Texas Open Meetings Act, right? In order to not get into trouble with that because of the numbers of people, et cetera. So we'll have to remember that when we do the 250. And if we could align with the KSB meeting, that would be even better. So Angela, would you keep that in your
In my calendar? Yep, I got it.
Because it's
So are
not,
we wanting to call a KSB
Yes,
meeting every time we do a 250
I don't know that we need to, because 250 can meet without Tilma. We already knew that, right? So if you choose to, like, say, call a 250 meeting, you do not have to worry about posting.
Well, yeah, because we have one.
Correct.
Okay.
So just call it.
Okay.
Thank goodness for that one, right?
Right.
And then, so anything else, KSB?
Not for KSB and nothing for EDCB.
Okay. And EDCA?
Justin's not here, but we don't have anything yet.
Okay. All right, so now, public information request. Cheyenne?
Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is here. I don't really have anything to report on them. It's just information about the different things that were asked of me since the last meeting. They're pretty basic, some GIS maps, information about window replacement in the city. Somebody wanted to know if they needed to pull permits, request for a COI for MSC Earthworks, and request for a copy of the waste contract.
Okay.
Isn't the waste contract public?
I don't know if it's on the website or not. I've had a few different requests for it, and I just sent it to them.
Okay.
Makes it easier when it is. She can direct them. Okay, after public information request, item 9. So this item is for discussion only, and it has to do with discussion related to emergency management roles and emergency management policy. Now you're on.
First of all, I want to thank Phil for not being in the scheduling commission. Perfect time. So, this is one of the hardest things we have to do is when council says, hey, we all want this, especially when there's all a vote, and we have to say, hold on a minute. But long story short, I'm not sure what we would be asked to do in drafting the ordinance would be legal. And I'll kind of walk you through the analysis. So, starting with...
I'm sorry, maybe I need to give a precursor, because there was a request.
Okay, so going back.
To remove.
So as I understand it, there was a concern that the mayor, who is the emergency management person for the city, there are some pumps or something, or some levees or something that someone presses a button on, and the choice would be that some of the land that could be flooded would be the mayor's, and the question would be, would we want to have the mayor in the position that he would have to make a decision of, do I flood my property or someone else's? Is that kind of in a nutshell, kind of what?
Well, more explicitly, they wanted to remove me from the emergency management operations because of a conflict of interest. The total was conflict of interest.
I think the request for an ordinance to remove the mayor from the conflict.
Right. So now, continue.
So going through the analysis, so first, and I spoke at a conference on this 6 months ago, home rule versus general law cities. Home rule cities, you got to be over 5,000, there are 2 other requirements. They go to the voters, they get a charter. That's the Constitution of the city. The way the laws are written for home rule cities, you can do whatever you want except if it's prohibited by law. For type A general law cities, the opposite is true. You can only do what the law allows. So you have to first read, where did this emergency management stuff come from? It comes from Texas Government Code, Chapter 418, specifically Sections 418.1015A. And it plainly says, the presiding officer of the governing body of an incorporated city or county, or the chief administrative officer of a joint board, is the designated emergency management director for the city's political subdivision. So start out with that premise, that the law has said the mayor is the person. Then we look to, okay, is there a conflict of interest issue? Nothing in Chapter 418 discusses conflicts of interest or what to do in this situation. We looked at AG opinions, didn't find anything on that. So next you move to conflict of interest statutes. So if we were going to do an ordinance there's already a law that says the mayor is that person. The only thing that would override that is proving that there is a legal conflict of interest. Gave a presentation on that. The only one that's relevant is Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 171. It's not actually really for this purpose. 171 is more for votes that are coming to council if a council member or mayor has a substantial interest. Kind of similarly would be, we would look at it and say, is the mayor's property a substantial interest? Is your property worth more than $2,500? I'm sure it is. So it puts it in that dollar category. The next thing would be, does the mayor have a special economic effect on the mayor's property specifically as against anybody else's? There might be an issue there. The issue we go back to before we can get to any of this ordinance is, does the mayor have this power or not? I have not seen anything about who has this power, and in talking to the mayor, I think there is, the understanding that I'm getting from him is that it's a Fort Bend County decision.
It's not.
If there's someone that can say, hey, to us, this absolutely would be, or there's something in writing, then we're gonna need to talk about possible conflicts of interest. That's the threshold. So I'm going through the legal analysis for you, so if I find something that says it is the mayor's decision, then we can talk about it. If not, if it's Fort Bend County, we don't have a conflict.
So Fort Bend County doesn't get to say, we spend the $30,000 to deploy the pumps. That has to come from the city.
Explain
I
that.
understood there might have been someone from Fort Bend County who was gonna come in.
Yeah, he was.
They'll recommend,
Two?
but they can't spend our money for us.
I'm sorry, they can't what?
They can't spend that money because it costs $30,000 to deploy the pumps.
It's $35,000 on the agreement that we have to deploy pumps. Now, with the new creation of Fort Bend County being the EOC and us being a post, the command post, right?
That's only in a natural disaster. I was here with you. That's only if it's declared a disaster.
Right.
Pumps are used.
Do we have a document about the pumps? Is there someone, a document, decision shall be made by so that's what I'm looking for, to be the big indication. Either Fort Bend County says it's you, or you have one that says it's you.
Well, the contract, I guess, for the pumps is in the city's name. It's the only document that I've ever been aware of.
Which states what? And I would want to go through that.
It's just the pumps are rented in the name of the city.
And they're deployed by Fort Bend County. They actually bring the equipment here, they lay it on the Fort Bend County Bridge, and...
But it's not their decision to activate them.
It's not.
It's yours.
To activate the pump?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let's go beyond that. We have water coming in. There are two sides that the water comes in. One's on the drainage side, which is clear water, and it comes through with those gates always open, should always be open. And that flood water, or the rainwater that we're experiencing right now, it's a rain event, right? So in the case of a rain event, and Craig, please speak up, make sure I'm talking the right thing, and also you, Jeffrey. In a rain event, water comes in through our drainage projects that we have done, and all of that fresh water gets down to the channel. So we're going to call it the channel. And there's two sides to that channel. One is on the, I guess you would call it the east side, and then there's a drainage canal on the west side. In between that are gates, and those gates can open and close. And the recommendation is always, you leave the gates open, you get all the fresh water out, it goes out the channel and out to the river. Now, nothing stops it from going to the river because the next stop point is an earthen dam on my property. So that's where the potential conflict of interest is starting to come from. That earthen dam was built by Fort Bend County, and they've actually had to rebuild it because one of the 42-inch culverts popped up and was no longer functional. The purpose of that earthen dam, which was done before the Fort Bend gates, was to prevent river water from coming into the channel and flooding Simonton. Those gates on that earthen dam are passive. What that means is it takes pressure to close the gate on the riverside. So if water is coming from our side, or I would say the subdivision side, it's free to push those gates open, it's free to get out, and as long as the river hasn't risen, we drain. And we have been draining now for days with all of the fresh water. And if you ever looked at the channels, you would see fresh water. It looks nice, right? It looks like you could have a nice lake, but it goes out. When Fort Bend County built that entire channel many, many years ago, the side that's on the south side is basically a levee. It acts like a levee to protect the acreage on that side, but to create a channel for water. Everything on the northern side is sacrificed. So in my mind, I have 27 acres that's totally sacrificed, well, probably more 40 acres totally sacrificed whenever water comes in, because everything from Valley Lodge goes there, and if it's raised enough, it floods those first. So when you look at drainage from our ditches that goes into Twinwood through the new channels that go out there from your house, by the way, that sucker flows like crazy. And keep it clean. Yes, and we want to keep it clean too. That water, once it fills that oxbow, is going to go south. And that southern trajectory is going to hit the Ferguson property, if y'all remember where that is, and it goes straight into my 27 acres and start to flood it from that side, okay? There's nothing there to pretend that, and that's so what? I knew that that area is basically become a swamp. So I bought the property knowing that it's in the floodplain, floodway, right? So it's in the floodway. Continuing. So we have protection that was first there from those passive gates, 3 huge 42-inch gates that prevent water from coming in when the river rises. In addition, there's a smaller culvert at the lowest possible point that they engineered. I don't know its purpose, Craig, maybe you could talk to it, but what it's basically doing is it lets the fresh water out first.
Yes, a low
at the lowest point, right? So low pipe. I think on the riverside, it may have sometime had a gate, but there isn't one. So what happens is that is the first pipe that allows dirty water, and I'm going to call it dirty water, coming in back to the channel towards the Valley Lodge. All right, so that happens to a certain degree. It all depends on the river levels. So the next thing that happens is that's not going to flood us by itself, and depending on how long the river rises to that level. But we'll protect, coming up the next 15 or 20 feet from the river, a lot of the gates lock and nothing comes in here until one of 2 things happen. On the Twinwood property, there's a low spot, and the water comes over the bank on the Twinwood property first, which is north of me, and that water proceeds south and hits the channel after the bridge. So it's coming into Valley Lodge pretty fast. And basically, you now have the river becoming a floodway into the channel, coming back to Valley Lodge. When that water, and Darren I've talked to, and I wish he was here tonight, would tell you, when dirty water reaches the floodgates at Fort Bend Drive, you're done. Because now what's happening is you probably need to close the gates, because it's going to go into the section where Justin lives, and it's going to start to build that canal up that's trying to get out, and it's going to raise that water level. So that's functionally how it actually happens. All right, so Darren said that he comes twice a day when we have river water coming in. He's coming twice a day, checking the amount of flood water, the velocity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He will be the one who would say, I think we need to close the gates. Now, your pumps are not doing you any good. Nothing's really happening, right? But the actual command to close those gates is probably me. It's probably me.
And it's also you to deploy the pumps.
Right, and so the way the pumps are going to work.
So the question is, are you going to deploy them if he tells you that they need to be deployed? That's a concern.
Because
Why would I don't even understand why that's a question, because why would I not?
And so we can do something to address that if you want to develop a plan that says, upon recommendation from Fort Bend County, the mayor shall, you can do something like that and not risk breaking the law. If that's you're trying to achieve, you can put criteria the mayor must consider. We can work with that.
Okay.
But totally taking away his power that comes from a state statute, I'm not sure that would be right. And to be honest, if the mayor is the final decision maker, I would want to have a policy in place. I wouldn't want you in that position where someone would say, well, he made this decision to save his property, and then who are they going after the city?
Because there's still a significant amount of homes that are not elevated in Valley Lodge, that we as a city need to make sure that if they flood, it's not because we haven't done every single thing that we can do to prevent them from flooding.
You have a very valid concern, and I would want to know for sure what writings we have, what's in the contract where, and then we could develop some sort of policy to eliminate that and take it out of his hands. That if it's recommended by Fort Bend County and he's the one making the decision, okay, on paper, you're the one that has to sign the form maybe, but that we could do something to take it out of our hands or provide the criteria the mayor shall do it when it reaches this level or something. So,
yeah, we can, and this is probably also similar, process-wise. Much larger structures than this. We have written emergency action plans that address, operations and flood operations of gate closures and pumps and structures. Again, those are more geared towards dams and levees and permanent pump stations, but there's no reason why it couldn't be tweaked to feed the needs of the city if that's something. It's a living guidance document, not necessarily the Bible.
And I was hoping Justin would be here, because Justin's actually been there and activated and done some of this work, right? And so he could give us more information on how he communicated with Fort Bend and when did they close the gates and when did they open the gates. And so it's no dispute whatsoever that when you have a rain event, those gates have to be open have to be open to get the water
Worry
out.
about the rain event,
All
we're
right.
the flood event.
So then the second you have is you have what I call a river event without a rain event. And then the two combined is Harvey. So when you have 50 inches of water dropping on us trying to get out to the river, and then you have the rivers that's rising from coming north, it's a whole different scenario. And what Darren told me, he
We're getting
says,
way off the topic, though. I think we're concerned about making sure that
Yeah.
the gates and the pumps are activated on a flood event as per the recommendation from Fort Bend County.
And Jeff, that's
and
coming
that's actually it.
Yeah, and I stayed quiet. My concern was, and it was a comment, and you said last meeting that was taken out of context. But that's a scary comment, because I'd be one of the houses that would flood. That I don't like shutting the gates and doing the pumps. Well, Cat would flood, Shannon and Sarah would flood, and then I'd be the next sixth house to flood. If those gates weren't shut, we could have saved it. That was my concern. I
About
want to make
shutting
sure
the
we
gates.
had, that the pumps weren't deployed. Sorry if I missed, that the pumps weren't deployed. That was my concern. From your comment made to somebody else, I got it by third party, but that being said, if he didn't deploy the pumps and I flooded, but we could have been saved from not deploying the pumps, where's the lawsuit going to be?
So here's the first thing you need to know.
Right here.
Here's the first thing you need to know. We already know, and we already met with Greg Bapps and everybody else, and I'm sorry if not enough of you were invited to that meeting, because only Angela, we were told she was there and nobody else could go because of a quorum, because it was Angela and Justin there. And that's not true. Everybody could have gone, could have, should have, would have, but that doesn't matter. What's the point is that the Emergency Operations Center in Fort Bend County, all I do is call and say, I'm standing up the incident command post, and he says, what do you need? I'm saying, wait,
That is
what do you?
after a natural, that is after,
No,
yes.
I can call it right now.
Then the city would pay for absolutely everything if there's not a disaster. No.
Nope,
Yes,
not
we were
true.
Okay.
We can check again with Greg Bapps, and I wanted him to be here, and he'll command, it says it's actually the reverse. If I call an incident and I tell him we need pumps, and we have our lease, go get the pumps, they will deploy them. They will actually man them with their personnel. Yes, 4,000. Well, it'd be 35,000 that would be on the hook for, right? So what he's saying is
In
if it's
that
an...
meeting, they never said that they would man them and do them. They said that,
Well, let's go back. We'll just get him back here.
okay.
So, we're getting
So my
back here.
question, Jeff, is, because you guys didn't want to put, we asked for an action item and it was voted 4-0, but the action item wasn't here because you wanted to discuss it. And we asked for an action item, but now you're saying we could put something in place saying shall. Will we have to do that next meeting?
So what I understand that the ask was to put an action item to remove the mayor from
Correct.
that position
Correct.
by ordinance.
To appoint someone, not just remove it. And it could have been.
And to bypass it in some sort of way. And I'm not sure that we have that power from the state statute. And I first want to figure out, is there a real conflict of interest that I can trace back to on paperwork? The mayor has this decision, and it would economically affect him special.
To me, they're two separate deals. Mine's more about the pumps, but just want to make sure.
And as far
if
as
we
the
have-
pumps go, what I'm saying is you can have an action plan that is not changing the ordinance, not removing him, not messing with state statute, but that further refines, here are the criteria that we in Simonton think are important to consider. Here's how we're going to make the decision for this, here's how we're going to make the decision for that. And if the mayor deviates from this, then the issue would be on him.
To take all necessary steps as possible to try to save property and life, of course. But usually not a life issue, it's a property.
And I don't want to flood you, Andy.
So is that something we can have written up?
I'm
Well,
done.
and LJA can give him, you said you give the contract.
Yeah, we have a template that we use.
No, like the city,
There's a contract for the pumps, I'd like to
The city should.
We have the contract.
I probably have a copy of it, but.
We have the contract,
Okay.
and I can put my hands on it tomorrow.
And if you have any sort of emergency action plans in place, I'd like to take a look at that. But between those and maybe some discussion with Fort Bend County about being very sure who gives who what direction and what documents might be out there. But I see what y'all are worried about, a valid concern. I just wasn't sure that putting an action item to address it by ordinance right now, I wasn't sure that.
So, Mayor,
Honestly, this should have been done a long time ago. To take.
So I was
so
hoping,
you're saying in public meeting, if Fort Bend County says we should roll the pumps, or
they're going to be there.
they're gonna roll the pumps?
Absolutely.
That's what I need.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You think I'm worried about $35,000? Hell no. Not at all.
I don't think it's the money that
Well,
was our
it's the
concern.
flooding, which if the pumps are not there, what he's saying is, the pumps are not there, they're going to flood. And I'm saying, well, it's not a question of money. We spend the money. We already have an agreement. It
Right.
just happens. Only question is, when when do I pull the trigger and say, put the pumps there, right?
Well, I think Fort Bend County will tell you that.
Exactly.
They should.
Exactly.
And I don't think
Justin would know that.
anybody is questioning that. What the question is,
Your character.
well, but from what was, I wasn't here last meeting, but it was addressed that conversations were had, like Edwin said, third party. It's not about what Fort Bend County says. It's not about $35,000. It's about whether or not you would do it.
Oh, good grief.
I'm not saying,
Do I need
that
a
was what
Bible to
was
swear on? I
addressed.
don't know.
I wasn't here.
Hey, you said it in public, I'm good.
Yeah.
I just said it.
Yeah.
And
But
so,
I think from here on out, if we're working on ordinances and we're working on policy and all those kind of things, honestly, that probably should have been a policy a long time ago.
Absolutely.
From the first flood event. That should just be something that is
What's
common practice.
that
the way
gate
the city
operation and the
operates.
deployment of the
Gate-
flood,
yeah, it
of the
should
pumps,
just- it should just be-
absolutely.
yeah.
So if
That
you
should-
remember back, that we had those 2 pumps, and they're still in our garage right there, and everybody in the subdivision took turns putting diesel in and trying to keep the water moving, right? And then eventually they would say, no good, it's not going anywhere, pull them out, right? It's the same kind of thing, but I wish Justin was here because he could actually lend more information on actual experience at the pump stations and what was happening. However, that not said, what I'm telling you is I have not even an issue about deploying pumps. And in so much that my conversations with both everybody at the the Emergency Operations Center in Fort Bend County, they're 100% with us. The first people they want to service, by the way, is us, because we're the ones who are going to flood first up the river, and we're on the Fort Bend County side, and whatever happens here, then they start moving down. He also said, and Angela, if you remember, it's the small cities they address first.
Yes.
It's the small cities. And so Simonton's on the list. And then basically what initiates the action? A phone call. I call Greg Batch. I'm calling an incident. That's all I say. And I'm standing in the incident command post. We normally would say it's an emergency operations center. He doesn't want you to use the language at all.
Right.
Because legally, it binds us to losing money. And if I do the incident command post, it binds them to paying for services. And so
But you wouldn't call an incident to put the pumps out.
I call an incident to think even put the pumps out if I wanted
If I'm
to.
not mistaken, he said that if it doesn't become a natural, and I could be mistaken, but that's what I wrote
Oh,
down, is that if
okay.
he doesn't call a natural disaster, and that all of this funding money is spent, then it's all 100% on us to
No,
pay.
that's what we missed. So what he said is on 100% of Fort Bend if I called an incident. Now, if we're the EOC, it's all on us. If we're a command post, it's all on the EOC, and the EOC is Fort Bend County.
But I thought command post is for a natural disaster, not just for an incident.
It's an incident that threatens life, liberty, people,
we talked
whatever.
about talking
Highlights
to
the
him
need
again.
for a policy, an
Yeah.
internal policy, that this was all the kind of stuff that would be discussed at the internal.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But
So
just-
the final-
But just to clarify a little bit, because I think where you're headed on some of that, so if there are expenses that the city takes on, for whatever those expenses are, in the advance of a disaster.
In advance.
If it is not a federally cleared disaster, the public assistance program will not reimburse you for that. So until that point, now, Fort Bend County still has to do their thing, the state of Texas still has a step, and then the federal government. So there is that window that I think a lot of us, just across the county, have tried to nail down to minimize that, because there was the 2016 flood that a lot of people got hit.
Yeah.
Because they gauged up, and y'all weren't alone, they stepped up, spent a lot of money, didn't end up becoming a federally clear disaster, and so the
Right.
public assistance didn't reimburse them. They're basically, at that point, it was 75-25, so 75% reimbursed by the federal government. So it is gun shy. Everybody's a little bit even more gun shy now because of that. So I think that's where you're kind of headed, is when you get to that level, if it's not federally cleared, the public assistance grant that many people, including the city of Simonton, has relied on in the past.
So have you had conversations with Greg on what it means to them as far as declared or not declared, and we call it an incident?
So the public assistance, the county has to declare it, but until the federal government declares it, the public assistance program does not come into play at all.
What does come into play?
Nothing.
I thought,
So it's local funds, either the county or the city.
Right.
The state could kick in funds, but, it's up to the state.
Okay.
But public assistance does not come into play unless it's a federally declared disaster.
So the way I understood it, Angela, from Greg, talking to him twice now, is that they take on more responsibility as soon as we become nothing more than an incident command post. And so they become the actual true EOC, responsible for funding, responsible for providing goods, services, everything. They become it. And so if it never gets declared and we have an incident and he sends us people, boats, places, whatever, it's on them. And that could be very significant money savings for us. Now, we're going to still pay our pumps. We're going to still deploy the $35,000 pumps. But then there's a lot of things they can do when I say, look, I need somebody to man the pumps. I need somebody to do this. And it helps our emergency management team. Now, I have not yet called the first emergency management team meeting to bring all of the people together and say, look, I found a red book and it's called Our Emergency Management Plan. Let's go through these sheets. Let's go through the process. Let's become an incident command post and now decide exactly how these things would roll out. Okay? So that's yet to happen because of, what, a month?
No,
Being mayor?
Probably a good time, because
Yes,
it's wet.
it's a very good time. And so we have to post it. I actually have to post it. So after all of this happens, I'm going to post a meeting 7 days in advance, and we're going to call the emergency operations team that was here for that presentation to come and do what Simonton needs, and then with them, map it all out.
So is Greg gonna come do one of those?
I hope so.
Okay.
No, they're pretty
Easy to do. He was going to come tonight, but because of the potential of other things happening,
Oh, yeah.
he asked me to let him withdraw. And there's a reason why Darren was here, but not to be disclosed, so.
Hopefully, one last question, did the governor declare today? Or
The
was it-
governor declared various counties, I think did he do it today or yesterday? But yes, he declared.
Not Fort Bend.
Fort Bend was included in his
Yeah, Fort Bend.
declaration.
It was?
Yeah.
Good.
I just want to make sure I saw his
Based
social
on where
media.
we're headed, there probably will be a federally declared disaster that would include Fort Bend, but we'll see how this tropical system that's still floating out there,
Push
what it
east.
does to east.
Push east.
To our good friends in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Hey, that's family, be careful.
No, I have a lot of my
You too?
my flood, counterparts are in Louisiana, and we trade notes and all sorts of stuff, so.
Okay, so suffice to say, Andy, I'm not going to flood you under any circumstances for $35,000. So the pumps will get deployed, and I want to actually, when I meet with the emergency operations team, saying, what is going to be the trigger that tells me to call Fort Bend and I'm declaring an incident and we're upstanding the incident command post. And when we stand up, the incident command post, there's a list of things that happen, the same thing that would happen if we were an EOC, probably the same people, but maybe we'll change some people out. But this is the processes, and we'll take the books and say, who's doing this, who's doing this, who's doing this? Who is our public information officer? Well, I think we already know who he is. The mayor before me had started that process, so it's going to be him. And then we'll go through the whole list. And is everybody still willing to be a volunteer? And how are we going to enact this? And so, you're right, Susan, it's time. But it needs a 7-day notice.
Yeah.
It does, unfortunately. Toma. All right, so, any other discussion or questions you would like to ask? Okay, so now we did all of that windy stuff. Let me see if I can pick up where we were. All right, 9B, discussion of Centerpoint franchise fees that are deposited into Wallace Bank in regards to their intended use. As of 1/31/2020, account 955, small business checking, was $9,346. Currently, the balance is over $174,000 on March 31st, 2026. It does not draw any interest. So, it relates back to investment policy, but it also relates back to, I was told that money and in that bank was franchise fees, and it's franchise fees from Centerpoint, and that it had a specific purpose for roads.
Yes.
Right? We can't find anything to confirm that. Can anybody else? Because if it is for roads, we're wasting a lot of revenue by not putting that money into interest-bearing account into New First. And so I'm bringing it to council saying, if we can't determine why and how this happened, then council needs to tell me, hey, minimize that money, because it's just going to go in there and sit at
mean
zero
maximize
interest. I want to maximize it, yes. No, Minimize the amount of money, Susan, that's
Oh, yeah,
in there.
absolutely.
That's
Was
what I
that
meant.
part of the money that the audit found?
No, this is part of the money that the audit accounted for by saying there's a line item, Wallace State Bank, here's your balance. Because he looks at the balance and is it reconciled? Balance and reconciled,
Right.
not what it's used for.
But so it's not part of the restricted?
Not yet, no, it's not restricted. It's not restricted at all. At one time, I thought that the credit cards that are issued by Wallace State Bank, the money would come out of there, but no, it comes out of our general fund and we pay the credit cards. That-
Yeah, I don't think the money can come out of that. I think
Might have been
it's for
something the council set
roads.
up years ago or something.
So the point is this, you are the council, you make the rules. If you want to choose to do something different with Wallace State Bank, $174,000, then we can go create a resolution and an ordinance or whatever y'all want to do, and let's bring it back.
So you said it's Center Point money that's going in there, is it?
It's the only franchise, it's monthly,
Monthly
Franchise fee.
franchise fees.
Okay.
For the privilege of bringing us,
$1,000 a month or something like that.
I would have to look at it. I think my biggest question is, does anybody know when or how that was decided? Is it in meeting minutes? Is it in an ordinance, a resolution? Does anyone know? Because I've looked and I can't find anything about it. If we
So
want to
the-
keep doing that, like you said.
Is there a
probably
state
need to-
law prohibits us, Jeff?
I'm sorry?
is there a state law?
Franchise fees? Prohibits?
Now that they're restricted, I mean, I'm a little concerned that there's no documentation of where this money started and that kind of thing, but not restricted per se, no.
Because franchise fees are normal for
Yes.
cities. That's how they accumulate revenue without or minimize property taxes, so.
And Centerpoint's not the only franchise fees that we get, right? And so,
No, I
So
think
where's the
it's the
notion that it was
significant
one.
set aside for roads, like where'd that come from?
the mayor, ex-mayor,
Okay, so she said this.
in conversation with me, she said
Okay.
that was set aside for roads, but
Okay.
we never really took any or did any, we just let it sit there.
I would have to look that up again. I found that somewhere else.
On what?
But yeah, that line item for the franchise from Centerpoint, it's like, it's a little over 3,000 a month, something like that.
I will have to look at it, but
Yeah, I
that
found
sounds
it.
right.
Yeah,
That sounds right.
Well, I would recommend the investment committee look at it, do something with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
you need to make,
Okay, so I don't know that we even need a motion because we have an investment committee now, and we can just discuss all of the investments, including this. And then if we need to actually say we need an ordinance or something to change it at Wallace Bank, then it comes back to the council.
no.
Or probably a policy, or just.
Probably a policy or something.
General, like, yeah.
Because it's time, I mean, it's a long
Yeah,
minute.
since you can't find, usually you say an ordinance can undo an ordinance or resolution undo. it.
Correct.
But if we can't find it at a certain point, you just say, we've done our due diligence, we're gonna move forward and make this change.
So I'd rather say we're going to come back and do an ordinance because that becomes the law, and if there was one, it overrides it anyway. Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we'll push that to the investment committee or
Yes.
the finance
Which is
committee.
And the goal is just to put it into a bank
And
that.
Stacy. I mean, I would obviously want input from Stacy because
Make sure
she,
it's not earmarked for something and we've already.
well, she told me it's for roads.
It's for roads. All the conversation has been that it's for roads, and it's never,
Okay, let me rephrase it. As long as it's not budgeted,
It was already spent somewhere, you mean, like
Yes.
earmarked
Yes.
to be
Already
somewhere.
earmarked.
I got what you're saying.
that's
Yeah.
what I was saying.
it's a good question because I don't remember seeing anything on the budget that says encumbered to Wallace Bank. Nothing on there says it was encumbered for anything.
And I sat down with Stacy the other day because I had a bunch of questions, not specifically about the numbers and the finances, but sort of what things meant. And we went over that a little bit, and I don't want to quote her, but she doesn't really even know why we still have that sitting in Wallace Bank. She said the same thing, so I agree. It needs to be looked at.
Yeah, we need to address it. And so, yes, because that's significant money. And if you'll remember, we actually went to tax pool and took money to try to do roads. So when we have $174,000 sitting here, when tax pool gives us a much better return.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the action item is that the investment committee will look at Wallace State Bank along with the rest of the finances and come back to council with suggestions.
Right.
Okay. You got that? Okay, thank you.
She's like, I'm tired.
All right, then I have item 10.
9C.
9 who?
9C.
Oh, yeah, there it is. You ready, Cheyenne? This discussion is on the proposal for administrative staffing plan. I'm going to try to turn to it now. Give me a minute. Cheyenne, did we put it in to mine?
9C, yeah.
9C, I have it.
Administrative policies and procedure manual, you should have it, yeah, you have the same thing as
Towards
everyone.
almost the very end.
No, I found it, okay. Everything was tagged good. All right, 9C. So the manual sets out how the city of Simonton, and this is for discussion only, no decision, how the city of Simonton runs its day-to-day operations while the city administrator position is vacant. It spells out who is responsible for what so that the city business gets done consistently and nothing falls through the cracks. The city administrator position is still on the books and can be filled whenever the city council decides the time is right. That might be because the city grows, or the workload increases, or the right person is ready to step into the role. Until then, this manual is what guides us. What was that? If the city administrator position is filled in the future, the council should review this manual and adjust the duty assignments accordingly. Everything in this manual can be changed by a majority vote of the city council. The city secretary will keep the official copy updated on file. And so, all of you had this, and I don't want to have to read every little section of this. I would hope that everybody did some study on it.
Yes.
And as such, it's for discussion only, so we're going to open up the floor for discussion only.
Under the personnel section,
Okay?
second bullet point, hire temporary, part-time, short-time employees as needed to keep city operations going, blah, 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 blah. I think the ordinance we passed this evening
Yeah.
kind of redacts that, doesn't it?
Yep. Yep, so with the ordinance 2026-08, right? And 09 not? There's not much can be done here
On that bullet.
on that bullet.
What bullet are we on?
The second bullet.
Under personnel, second bullet.
Under section 3, Mayor.
Okay.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry, Shay.
I think the recommendation part can stay.
But is this turning into an ordinance?
this is discussion, and what we do is we take notes on what council thinks is plus, minus, whatever, and then when we take all the discussion, we take it away, and then we try to make something out of it that's appropriate and handles the discussion. Then it can come back as either a resolution, ordinance, or whatever. So that's what we would like to do.
So
It's
the
no different than what we did on 6.2 when we discussed a lot of stuff, and we brought it back.
Section 7, general rules under hiring and firing. The mayor can hire temporary and short-term workers, again, that goes away.
That goes away because we didn't pass the other ordinance.
And then I need some explanation under the same section, but EDC finances.
So is not, well, this is discussion, so EDC finances are EDCs, right? And on the way the EDC finances are, is it's separate from the general fund. You have your own fund, EDCA, EDCB. Money goes into you, 1/4 cent, 1/2, whatever, and then y'all get together, you decide a project, you spend your money.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the issue?
I guess that's not how I read it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm reading it,
But your own bookkeeping, your own reporting, and your own audit.
so they'd have to buy staff?
So, you might be able to help Jeff on that actual, how that's supposed to work, because in the past, what happened is, we did an audit on the general fund, and maybe it included EDCs, and they just looked at the monies, and that's all they looked at, nothing else,
It's in there, yeah.
and combined it.
So
It's kind of
without-
strange. Go ahead.
You could have, and sometimes what's done in some of my other clients is the EDC will create a project to pay for a certain amount of administrative services.
We do.
We put it in
Yeah.
a certain portion.
It's all in there.
And that's kind of what that's considered as the administrative portion.
Yeah.
It's usually city staff, and there's kind of a that's the mechanism to have it come back.
Yeah, we have budget for all of that, so.
Yeah, so that would cover that.
So it actually still says that. It says city staff may assist the EDC matters at the direction of the mayor and the council, but EDC finances are not part of the administrative assistant finance clerk's primary responsibilities under this manual. So she is not primarily responsible for going to your meeting and making minutes and doing the other stuff. She will post minutes, she will post the meetings. That's her job.
We don't rely on her to be there, so.
Yeah, so it's basically the same as it is already, I think. The other one that I saw up at the top was under section 4, city secretaries hired by a majority of council with the mayor's approval. That's not how the Texas law works. Council hires the city secretary. But
Jeff,
mayor does do-
I
does
heard
do
you, yeah.
Annual performance.
I'm sorry,
Tell me again.
We're looking at section 4, employment, city secretary is hired by a majority vote of the city council with the mayor's approval. There is no set term, removal requires a majority council vote, the mayor conducts an annual performance review, and the council decides on any pay adjustments. That particular paragraph is what she's questioning as far as,
I have to double check, it's usually city council.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
why I
I
said just
said.
take out the mayor's
No,
approval.
with no mayor approval thing. That's the part I'm not sure about, it's usually just city council.
so
That's what I
given,
had that part highlighted too.
given 2026-08, et cetera,
Well,
how would
that's-
you?
that's not even
I'm sorry, wait, I'm sorry,
2608.
let Andy finish. Finish?
No, I'm good.
Huh?
I'm good.
Okay. I just wanted in on the joke, whatever it was. All right,
No,
so,
it's no joke.
okay, good.
That part's not part of 2026-08 that.
No. If the mayor is not involved in hiring, then the council is involved in hiring. The council posts the job, the council interviews, the council does it all.
We're referring to just the words that says mayor's approval, because even without, the council always hired the city secretary.
Absolutely. It's by, actually, Jeffrey, it's by law that it's an officer position and only the council can hire that person.
That's right. It's,
Okay.
the words in
But
here
it's
with the
not-
mayor's approval need to be stricken from the document, because that's not the law.
Okay. Got that?
My only thing on section 3 was, and I just wrote a note, like it's under budget and audit, where it says serve on the investment committee along with one council member. I'm totally fine with that, like we discussed that, but in the earlier paperwork, it said and city secretary, so I wanted to make sure that we didn't add that.
I'm sorry, where are you?
No, I know, I just wanted to say it again.
Where are you?
I am in section 3, budget and audit.
Okay.
That's all, because I wasn't sure. Oh, sorry.
Who presents the budget? Jeffrey? Who's responsible? Sorry, who's responsible for producing a budget to council when his budget's through?
That's the mayor.
Right, okay.
I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, okay, but I'm reading it, it says,
I said, yeah, serve
under the mayor duties, it says work with, am I in the right place, budget and audit?
under the third bullet.
Contract and spend?
I said, serve on the investment committee along with one council member, and then I said, I'm good with that, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Just on my notes earlier, I had just made sure I put not Cheyenne, because earlier it says, and city secretary.
In a different document, yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of documents and they don't jive with each other, but they're
Right,
trying
like,
to say
you
same
can tell like
thing,
which
yeah.
ones different people wrote, and so the terminology just doesn't line up very easily.
Talk to Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I understand is, under budget and audit, serve on the city investment committee along with one council member, and you want to make sure it's not the city secretary, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Well,
But that's fine.
I'll make a note, it doesn't say it.
Yeah,
Okay.
No,
But it said it somewhere else.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just wanted to be clear that we're making sure that all the documents
Got it.
that are lining out ordinances and lining
Okay.
out specific things that we do them all the same way.
Makes sense.
Through all the documents.
Okay. Next.
And we don't have a financial clerk yet.
Nope.
So other than that, I didn't have anything. Oh, under, yeah, general rules, we took that out. And then under absences, mayor ensures city hall coverage through temporary staffing. I don't know how that works.
Well, if I can't hire temporary staff, I can't hire temporary staff.
Well, I mean, just like, this seems like it'd be like a
receptionist, anybody, just sit in the office, right? Temporary.
Well, it says if both are out, the mayor ensures city hall coverage through temporary staffing. It's like, you wouldn't be able to get temporary staffing that quickly.
There are workplaces that you can
Plenty of
make.
temp staff agencies. that
Yeah,
you say
they'll
they
just
need a-
send it right now.
Need a staff city secretary and
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
Sometimes you have someone that leaves abruptly.
Now, what that means, Susan, is, what that means is you need a pre-agreement with certain of these
Right.
workforce places and say, look, well, I'm gonna need staffing, I want you to give me a bid on these positions, and yeah, that's probably what should take place on that item. And then you get it set up that says, okay, everybody's out.
You mean Bob from Account Temps?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
I've not heard that forever.
That is an old one. So should I make a note? I'm gonna say, personnel.
Well, I think that would be, if somebody's going to be out for several weeks and we need to have that, I think, again, that would be one of those policies that says, okay, if Cheyenne's going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, then the mayor has the ability to bring in somebody from, I think it's a good policy to backfill, that doesn't have to go through a big, long.
You wanna write that?
Big, long deal.
All Cheyenne heard was vacation.
Fulfill a pre-position contract.
Right, pre-position contract for interim, what do you call it? Interim, temporary,
Temp-
yeah.
That'd just be temp staff.
Yeah.
It's like we need you here for 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I think that should be a general, just how the city operates policy. Right?
How does that go back to 2026-09, which says give the mayor the authority to hire temp staff?
This isn't hiring a temporary staff. This is bringing in, this is just a city policy that says we're going to bring in, that's not even what I would call temporary staff. Temporary staff to me was somebody like Stacy, who's part-time and semi-temporary.
She's actually under contract, though.
She's under contract.
Yeah.
So this would just be like a backfill process. So I think if we wrote a policy that says, we will bring this company or third-party Burnett or whoever does temp agencies these days, that if it's a city policy to bring their temp agency to backfill a deal for a couple of weeks, I think that's something that we should all be able to agree that should happen.
So the difficulty is, and like he said, who are we backfilling, right? A city secretary, you don't want just anybody walking here, but if I have access to all records.
Well, they wouldn't have again, they would just be here
It's
to
a
answer the
temporary,
phone and open the door.
right, so what
yeah.
we're saying is it's not
That's
the
kind of
city
why
secretary.
going through some of these for that position is kind of how it's done.
Yeah.
So,
Just somebody to open the door and say, sorry, I can't do that for you right now, but.
That's a receptionist, right? That's just
Exactly.
basically a receptionist.
Yeah.
So if the city secretary is out, what I hear you saying is, city secretary is out, right? I'll call and say, I need a receptionist, because we gotta have the door open. Come here and say hello. No, I can't do your permit. No, I can't do this. But you're here, right?
You can do that.
You wanna write that one too?
You're here.
Actually, I already have Fundview training. I'm doing APTL, et cetera,
Yeah.
so. I'm
I
not.
meant you could say hi.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Answer the
man.
phone, right.
My
I think
name-
that's something we
my
can
name is
discuss.
Okay, so what do you want to leave it with him creating the policy?
No, I think that's something that, because I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think that's something that we can just line item and worry about it later.
She has training and she has training and vacation to take. So were you saying it might not happen?
Okay.
A half day of vacation,
Okay.
actually, because it's a Friday.
You used the rest?
No.
So in short, your mind is to hire administrative assistant, finance clerk.
Yes, that was the proposal. And what that person would do is to supplement Stacy, helping with entries and stuff, supplement Cheyenne with doing permits or whatever else, and be basically that front runner. So if,
I guess I'm confused, I'm sorry. You said
He-
supplement Stacy and,
so what we have, okay, yes, here's why I say that. Stacy's part-time. Stacy could tell us tomorrow, I'm done, I have a full-time job, I can't do this anymore, and I'm done. I don't have anybody with Fundview experience, no one to do the transactions except for her and I to try to muddle through it. Now, it doesn't mean I couldn't do it, it just means we're not gonna be as efficient as Stacy ever, right? Because she has done it for so long. So, the concept is, you bring in somebody who eventually is a backup, and that if Stacy decided that she's gone, you don't miss too many beats, and eventually, they're sharing that job, and eventually, they do that job, at which time Stacy can, if she wants to.
Oh, you mean a full MOC?
So I need a fully trained fund view person, period.
That's what I mean, but if you want to have somebody come in to learn all this stuff, it'd be what we would call the MOC.
Permanent employee. You can call it MOC.
No, MOC is a management of change,
Where
where they come in and they learn everything as the next person is moving out.
Well, I feel that every employee of the city should be learning something new all the time. So their career path, everything depends on.
That's not what I meant, but that's fine. That's fine.
I'm more specific. It's fund view.
I guess I wasn't under the assumption that if we brought in a full-time financial person, that we would still have Stacy. I guess I don't know. Like I've never
I would
asked.
say, I'm the chief executive officer, right? So I would say I am not going to put the city in jeopardy, right, administratively, by not having a backup to somebody who's that critical. And so.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
And well, that's why this came together. So we're saying that we have Stacy, she's doing a great job, she's actually got us caught up, everything is fine. Stacy's part-time and she's contract. At any given time, anything can happen. And if we have that one employee called administrative assistant, I start saying, we're gonna invest money in you, so you better be a good person that we're gonna hire full-time.
Why wouldn't I brought this up at the last meeting. City administrator,
Yes?
you can handle that, grants and whatever else comes this way.
So, have you looked at the city administrator job description? I mean, it's been a while since we've actually posted that one up, right?
We need to post it back.
Okay, so let's talk about the city administrator and their functions. So we had the city administrator, she delegated to finance to have a person to do data entry. She didn't do all of it herself. And so the function of the administrator needs to be clearly defined, and they have to be able to do it all. And in addition, they have to have a higher education. And so when you're at that level, demanding that money, you have to have a certain amount of public knowledge and municipal knowledge to perform, right? If the council decides you want to hire a city administrator, it's totally on you. Totally. That is what you can do at any time. I said that before, I think. So if you look at the staffing and say, well, you know what, we ought to just get a city administrator and let them do all of that and back everybody up. If you think that would work, then that's where you want to go. And that cost of that city administrator is going to be far higher than an administrative assistant, I guarantee you.
You're absolutely right.
So-
The city administrator can also help with grants and other things that can be very beneficial for the city. So why isn't that job description in this little bit here?
Why would it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
We're at a stalemate.
we don't
now.
have a-
So if you told me, Eric, we want to see the definition of a city administrator, we want to compare it to what's here, we'll do that. If you say,
We didn't ask you to define a administrative assistant, but that's in here.
yes, because it's the lower cost option,
That's not a valid argument.
well, it is one, but that's it. You don't have to agree. I mean, you're the council. You can do whatever it is the council decides to do. That's why we're discussing. So if your discussion is, look, I think city administrator can do wonders for us, okay. Next. And I'm not pushing that we have to have this administrative assistant either, because what we've just done is we flipped over to what was the other plan and how that might work, and that's okay.
I think we desperately need somebody with a strong municipal background. Because it's not something that is easily learned or taught or quickly, or any of that stuff. And with Twinwood growing, the city's going to start growing quickly. As soon as that toll road opens up in 3 months, it's coming this way, and it's going to come fast, and we need to be ready. And I think hiring somebody that doesn't have any municipal experience is not good for the city.
I would agree.
But an administrative assistant financial clerk isn't going to have municipal.
Maybe, maybe not.
But if they have municipal experience, they're probably not going to be what you would consider a low-cost option either.
They won't be 120,000, I would guarantee you that. What do you think an administrator is going to cost us?
I don't
Well, we already know, it was, the budget was over 109, 120, when it's fully loaded, it's 150, 160, right? We all know what Cheyenne makes, because y'all were in on hiring her, and I'm not going to say what that is or ever, but I mean, it is not a cheap solution to get an administrator and overload that person with duties where they're going to come right back and say, I need help, I need this, and I need that, which would be their job to do, by the way. You hire a city administrator, they have authority. And that authority means I can go hire and fire, and I can go do X, Y, and Z. Unless you limit their authority, they can do it.
I don't think they can hire and fire. I think that's all up to council, but.
Right, well, they would have to recommend the council to hire and fire. And to do the reviews.
I think the mayor does, yeah, the
Right
city
now.
administrator might do a review
Right.
for somebody who is a direct report. But that would be depending
Well,
on how we set it up.
Usually the idea with a city administrator, that's the one person, you deal
That's
with
it.
them,
Yep.
and they handle your wishes, report back to you each time. The ones that do it professionally, they do have that skill, that they go to it, the ones that I deal with, they go to the conferences, they know how to look at budgets. Because I have a board in Galveston where it's half city managers and half elected officials. And you can tell the elected officials bring the good ideas, the city managers, well, did you see that? I would have never, and their knowledge of that stuff is just outstanding. But you're talking, I know one of the better ones in this area, because I did his contract, is about 200,000. I've seen him as low as about 120, but the experience, it's going to command salary. Wants them good.
So again, it's a city council decision. I mean, we're trying to provide as much information and options, and then it's up to the city council.
I would add in here, just add a city manager, and I think we're going to have to go into the next budget anyway before we hire city manager, because we've used that line item. Of course, I guess we only have a few months left
For this budget, yeah.
for this budget. But I'm not ready to put this in a policy yet.
No.
Well, that's why it's just discussion today, so we want to take all the input and try to figure out what do we want next, right?
Well, I think sitting down with the people who are here the most, and like I said last time, Cheyenne and Stacy, and coming up with what they both think needs to happen is a good idea as well.
Cheyenne has an opinion right now on what she needs, on what we
She
need.
said she wants a finance person.
Right.
She told us that 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely, it's still the same.
A full-time finance person. But this city's never had a full-time finance person, is that correct?
It was actually, I guess by default, it was the administrator that you had.
What do you mean by default? Oh, because we had
She did it.
part-time, she did it.
She did it. She did the entry, she did the finance, basically. Made the decisions, did it. She was an administrator.
Thing about that is if you want an administrator, the viability of having a secretary, finance person, and administrator can be very, very, very costly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Yeah, we can do it.
you want an administrator, it's gonna have to be worked in here that they handle the finances as well.
So I guess the balance is, Susan, is like you said, if growth starts to happen and our revenue starts to pick up, and it looks like, we're going to have a $2 million budget instead of $1 million, all things are possible. We start spending the money on where we want it, right?
Except the problem is that stuff typically backloaded.
What do you mean by backlog?
It's going to be,
Growth
you're going to
first?
need the people before you actually have the revenue.
Okay, and so the only answer to that is spend the money you have. You have $2-point-something million. Or raise taxes. That's up to the council too, right? You need more money in, you have options. Use the money you have or raise the taxes. Again, council's decision. Now, when we get into budgeting and we've thought about the projects and we've thought about staffing, I'm going to recommend that we actually name staffing by position in the budget. So I want to see a city secretary name in there. I want to see whatever other names we come up with and put the positions in there. Because once the positions are put in and budgeted, then the hiring portion is just follow the budget, hire the person. It's a lot easier. If you don't have it named and you don't have it budgeted, every time you're going to have to ask, oh, where's the money coming from, Angela? How are we going to do this, right? I'm picking on you a little bit.
I know, I'd like to use the money.
All right.
Okay, are we done with this one, just because I need to use the restroom, we've been here 3 hours?
How about we take a 5-minute break?
Well, the only thing left next, that's what I'm saying, the only
No.
thing next is
Why don't we just break into executive?
executive, that's what I was saying.
Right, we're going to break into
Executive
executive. That was next, right.
next. So let's just,
Is everybody okay with that?
are we
We're
having
having an executive session.
Yes.
We have something to talk about in executive session?
Yes, you're going to have a packet.
Oh,
I'm gonna make it real quick, whatever we're talking about, because I don't have too much, but I think it's something.
Oh, no, you are legal counsel. You will.
Oh, yeah, I'm stuck here. Yeah, no, I get it. But,
Sorry, you will participate, Jeffrey. And Phil didn't do you any favor, so we're going to just see.
so we're just gonna break her.
Well, no.
No,
I think,
okay.
no, I think what I want to do is I want to call the executive session, and while we're formulating in the back room, you can do whatever you need to do for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, I good, but, okay, so we're not done here, okay.
No, I have to do this.
So all other items are done except
So,
executive session.
Oh, he has more on his list, I'm sorry, I thought, okay.
so actually, we talked about 9A, and we talked about 9B, and then franchise fees we talked about, discussion of the administrative staffing plan, we had that discussion, so we finished with all of that. The next item on the agenda is item 10, adjourn to executive closed session allowed by section 551.071, consultation with legal counsel. The time is 9:31 p.m. And the audience may remain in chambers. We're gonna go to the other little office that we have.
Sitting somewhere.
The time is 10:22. Can I find it? And we're reconvening to open session. There will be no action coming out of executive session. Item 13 is adjournment. Is there a motion?
Sorry.
Sorry?
Can we do a poll to make sure we're gonna have a quorum for next meeting?
Oh,
If
okay.
everyone's available.
All right. The next meeting will be July 7th, and the secretary is correct. We should do a poll to see if we have a quorum for July 7th.
So is there a agenda item that would require us to meet on July the 7th?
There will be at least, yes, there will be agenda items, and, but a quorum is always going to be required, right?
But
So
are
if we
they
can't-
agenda items that can't wait until...
I can't say what they are yet, because we still create them.
Can they not hold,
Why don't we just say we're not going to have the meeting? It'd be simpler, right? We say we just go to the second meeting in July, if y'all concerned about having enough information on the quorum. Because
I'm not
honestly...
available the 7th.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
So we're just gonna have it
Andy?
third?
Probably yes, but
Susan?
I have no idea at this point. I have people coming in, so if we could push to the 3rd, I would be better with that.
Same.
Same way.
Pushing it to the 3rd.
Well, I'm off that.
All right, so
I said not have
even with,
go to work.
Shane, even with Justin,
With Justin.
would we have a quorum with Justin?
No.
I'm hearing we don't have a quorum. There will be no meeting on July 7th. Thank you. And now we're on item 13, adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Real fast.
I'll third that.
Wait,
I can't believe you guys.
Hey, I'm sorry, hold on. Who did second?
I did.
Thank you.
What time?
Wait, who seconded? Was it Andrew?
Susan.
Susan.
Andy and Susan. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Wait, I'm sorry. Hey, ladies.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
You know, you asked, do we have to do all that?